falling towers, streets in flames, forgotten heroes, who knows their names? Broken future, shattered dreams, end of times.
Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, March 28th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. As we try to get it together over here on this Friday. Wow, it's been a long week already. I think we shall have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy joining us today. We shall see. I think he's scheduled to join us. Shout out to the chat over there on YouTube, on Rumble. See you guys there. Thank you for joining us on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. What do we have today? Quite a bit going on. It's slowed down a little bit. We've got the comings and goings. Well, I guess the big news for the government, they officially shut USAID. It's over. We're not done with foreign aid, but the organization known as USAID is done. Well, that's not even the big news of the day. The big news is the fluoride ban in Utah is official now. The Governor Cox there signed it into law. And so no more adding fluoride to the public water supply there in Utah. I know I'm outraged as you are. They're all going to lose their teeth. It's horrific. No more putting toxic waste in the public drinking water supply of Utah. I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to have to protest that the EPA add some other poison somewhere to get them for this transgression against science, right? So that's pretty big news, actually. I had my doubts, as others did, that this Governor Spencer Cox of Utah was going to actually sign the legislation, but he did, surprisingly. We got that to report on. Bobby Kennedy Jr., even though he's been on Epstein's plane twice, he's pushing to ban sodas. He's telling West Virginia governor to lose weight. And we've got a bizarre statement here from old Tim Walz, vice presidential running mate of Kamala, if you could remember back that far to 4 months ago. Anyway, I guess 5 months ago now. That's pretty long. So most people's attention span is not that long, but bizarre statements from him saying that we need to have a shadow government. It's like, dude, you ran. Democrats are getting crazy. Republicans too, but Democrats, man, they're getting especially crazy with what they're saying here. So yeah, he's calling for a shadow government. It's like, dude, I thought democracy and you love the system, you love the government, Tim Walz. You lost the election. You say it's all legitimate, but now yet somehow we need a shadow government to counter Trump. It's just, wow, really? So we got that. We got this big earthquake, quite striking. And another story tying in to Myanmar as well is, which I didn't know. I saw this story out of Reuters last night. I was like, wow, I did not know that. Rebels apparently have, rebels in Myanmar are bottlenecking the world supply, or a large portion of the world supply, of rare earth minerals. We'll get into that story a little bit, and tying into Myanmar insanity. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake hits there in Myanmar and 'Thailand. A bunch of video of buildings collapsing. One very shocking one, a crane that was working on a building collapses. So some crazy videos out of there. What else do we got here? It looks like Trump's pretty serious about taking over Greenland. We got that. Other geopolitical news. Back and forth. Are we going to ever get a peace treaty in Russia, Ukraine? I don't know. It's back and forth now. Back and forths are still going on. We got some of that. The genocide continues there in Aardvark land. Now we have a report saying old Bibi has commissioned his intelligence agency there, Mossad, to find countries where to put displaced Gazans. So essentially, ethnic cleansing program going on there, carried out by Aardvark Intelligence Agency. But it's the greatest thing that the world's ever seen because they care about the hostages, let me tell you. So all that and more on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. I don't know where's Thomas at. He was messaging me right up to the show coming on here. So maybe he'll pop in. Thought he would. Anyway, a short This Day in History for you. And then we'll get to the news and try to wrap it all up. Oh, and we have another video today of Barry Dutton, our unpaid co-producer over there on the interwebs. Thank you, Barry, for your efforts. I don't even know if he showed up today in the chat. I don't see Barry today. He must be busy, but we will play another Barry Dutton challenging Oshawa mayor and council staff, a video that he made from his activism there in 2012 to close out the show. All right. This Day in History. On March 28th, going back to the year 1804, Ohio passes law restricting movement of blacks. In 1834, the U.S. Senate censures then President Andrew Jackson for taking federal deposits from the Bank of the United States. In 1854, Britain and France declare war on Russia. In 1866, the first ambulance goes into service. In 1885, Salvation Army officially organized on this day. And in 1979, we saw a partial meltdown at 3 Mile Island there in New Jersey. But we love radiation. It's for your health. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And so we are, we hate Trump, YouTube. As you can see by the thumbnail, we're doing as much Trump hate as we can to get boosted up there on the YouTube. So, and then you fast forward to just last year, a year ago on this day, time's flying here, Sam Bankman-Fried, founder of FTX Exchange, was sentenced to 25 years in prison after being convicted of fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering on this day a year ago. I saw calls today for his pardon. Yeah, pardon him. He's the greatest investor of all time and never stole anyone's money. Even though he's been convicted of it, who cares? He's a good guy. Right. Okay, I guess we're just going to get right into it. I don't know where Thomas is. He usually pops in by now. I sent him the login link here. It's hard to do it on air here live. I'm just not going to. He got the link. Maybe he'll come. Thought he would. He was messaging me like an hour before the show. Anyway, what'd you miss last night, Chloe? Last night did him Oh, I don't know if you missed last night. Anyway, you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. Okay, so segue into the news here. This freaking guy, Jane Q. I can't even say his. Let's just call him Dr. He, because I can't even say his first name. But this guy's this is the guy, the Chinese scientist that got arrested in China for genetically engineering human embryos. He's back at it again. He says, I will conduct human embryo gene editing trial in South Africa. So this mad scientist is back on the loose again. He also said here, my success in science is mostly attributed to the environment of China that encourages world-leading scientific breakthroughs. This guy right here. Keep an eye on this guy. He's a mad scientist. And he's on the loose again. Yeah, Chloe, last night, Barry was saying everything is happy. Everything's happy. Cloning a human for organ harvesting is cruel, he says. So, see, he has some ethics. Right? It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. And see, he's doing it for all the right reasons. Here he tells us, survival of the fittest is unfair for the people born with genetic disadvantages. No one should be left behind. But isn't that like he's playing God here? You know what I'm saying? It's like it's out of control. Insanity. Let me just repost over there on the X. I'm glad that we could pull four viewers on the X. Let me let everybody know that we're live here again. Oh, see, that's why. I don't know why sometimes it doesn't show the video, and then no one sees it on the X. Anyway, our audience is on the Rumble anyway. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble. All right, let's get to, I was saving this stuff for throughout the weekend. I just never found time, but let's get to our AI humanoid robot section. Here is video of the robot scanning. I think I talked about it before earlier this week. I forget if I played the video, but part of this section, before we get to the news, and Bill Gates this week said that he predicts within the next 10 years, due to AI, there'll only be 3 jobs left, right? What was it? Coders, energy experts, and biologists, according to Bill Gates. They're cranking it up here. A robot scanning 2,500 pages per hour to feed an artificial intelligence ancient literature that is not on the internet. Soon, a mega artificial intelligence will hold all the knowledge that has ever existed on the planet. Here's a short video of that being scanned into the AI. So that's how they do it right there. Right there. They're scanning everything. And then probably burn all his books and then edit them and lie to us and say that they're, aardvarks have always been the greatest and no one, you know what I mean? And so that's what's going to happen, man. Everybody save your hard copies of books, CDs, whatever you have hard copies of, save them. Because I don't trust these bastards at all. They'll go in there and say, you can trust us. Everything's digital now. You don't have to carry around all those heavy books and so on. But the problem is they're going to go in there and edit it, telling you, and just flat out delete whatever they don't want you to know. So save your hard copies. And we've already seen this. We've already seen them doing this, but it's cranking up here now a lot. Here is this company that I keep mentioning because this guy keeps posting, and it's getting creepier and creepier here. Old Brett Adcock of Figure, of the humanoid robot company, here now he's talking about they got rid of the Biden shuffle, and now they've upgraded the walk of their humanoid robots. Not scary at all, really. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Is this the one? Where's the one where they show? Thought I had it pulled up here. Where he's making fun of Biden and says the Biden shuffle. Anyway, here's one of them. Figure robot now walks naturally like a human, according to the company, thanks to years worth of movement data trained in simulation in just a few hours. Let's watch this. They're getting more and more human-like. Now we lost Thomas again. He was on here for a second. I don't know. He'll come back probably. So there you go. Dare I say Terminator was a documentary? They're rolling it out in front of our face. Skynet here. And it's increasing at an exponential rate. There's Thomas on the line again. So we'll bring him on after. Let me show you this clip from another very similar humanoid robot out of China. China's Unitree G1 robot stuns viewers with martial arts moves and becomes the first robot to perform a tip up in a jaw-dropping demo. Let's watch this. But of course, these robots will never be used against humans, and it's only for our own leisure to have such robots. So exciting, right? Exciting. As Bill Gates announced that they don't need us anymore, and there'll only be 3 jobs in the future. And all this is rolling out very fast now. So be aware. Okay, segue to Thomas, and then we'll bring him on. Satanic Grotto leader arrested in Kansas Capitol. Leader of the Satanic Grotto was arrested at the Kansas State Capitol after an altercation with a Catholic pastor during an attempted black mass. Let's watch the clip. And a little bit more about the report. This event occurred amidst protests by Catholics who gathered to oppose the satanic ritual planned close to Easter. The incident involved physical assault leading to the arrest. Let's watch the video here.
I am not resisting. I'm not resisting. I I am not resisting. I am not resisting.
Back up.
I am not resisting.
Back up.
Okay, we're going to put the ball now outside.
How you doing this Friday, Thomas?
Hey, good to be here on Weaponized News. The earth is a shaken.
The earth's shaking. Did you feel any earthquake over there?
No, it's very unlikely for Cambodia to ever experience any earthquakes. It's a very sandy place, very sandy country. I swear it had to be at the bottom of the ocean before something, because there's like 30 feet of sand underneath all of it, under the soil everywhere. It's really quite amazing. It seems like it had to be at the bottom of the ocean before. So since it's so sandy, you don't really feel anything, these waves, these shocks, you don't feel it at all. But boy, did it come down from the mountains of Myanmar into Bangkok, interestingly enough, which Bangkok is right at the delta, the river delta leading out to the ocean of Thailand. So it is quite interesting that there would be any feeling there at all. But I guess it's the bottom of the topographical range. So for some reason,
There's some kind of lag going on with your video, like your audio and video are lagging.
yeah, the internet over here is incredibly slow this morning. Not sure if it has something to do with the news.
Probably the earthquake. All right. Well, thankfully you're okay there. Let's get to the news. Trump announces tax deduction for American-made cars. Trump today announced a new policy allowing U.S. car buyers to deduct interest payments on loans for American-made vehicles for their federal income taxes. How about abolish all of taxes? Where's Barry at? He's not here with us today.
Yeah, the MAGAs are complaining now, some of them, about America first, America first. What happened to abolishing all income taxes? Well, he's abolishing them all for the everyday citizens, 150K and under. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good move still. And I don't personally support abolishing the income tax on these oligarchs and on these aardvark oligarchs and these Bill Hateses and Reid Hoffmans and whatnot. I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's a bit overblown. It should not be on the working class.
There's a difference between individual income tax and corporate taxes. Total different deal there.
Yeah, and these guys they're not really taking a huge amount of personal income tax either in the way that they do things. They're very aggressive in what they do. But I don't really think that we should be giving them any reprieve. And what benefit is there to having these incredibly rich oligarchs, right? I mean, let's consider
They're the good guys.
Yeah, right. Let's consider it. You know,
They're the philanthropists, and they care more. They have a monopoly on caring and empathy and altruism, and so they're the good guys, and we're not.
And that's why they do zero real charity, and their charity is genocide, right? So, and these people, many of the conservatives want to say, "Hey, leave it up to charity. Let people do charity." These people, they don't do any charity. They're never going to contribute in any of that. Look at them. I mean, even Elon Musk doesn't do any charity. He's $500 million behind on his contributions to his fake family charity. So these people don't do that. The only way you're going to get $1 from them, other than kicking down their door, is through some form of taxation. And you're only going to rebalance their ill-gotten gains of all of their privilege and their access to the Federal Reserve discount rate window and the appropriations desk and the insider trading and everything else that they get away with that nobody else would. The only way you're going to be able to rebalance that back down is with some form of taxation. I don't see any other way. If somebody has some other way, they're not going to charity themselves out of it. Even Elon Musk is trying to pressure down the wages of his staff, his coders, bring in illegal immigrants and immigrants in different places, the cheapest people he can possibly bring in and flood the market. These are not people that do charity. I think we need to face it, that we need some clawback mechanism on these rich, super uber rich people that are oppressing everybody else and not contributing anything. We do. So, and they use the politics. They
Bernie Sanders is going to save us. He's fighting the oligarchy.
Yeah.
Him and AOC are going to implement what is their new thing? Oh, it's time for Medicare for all. Now they couldn't pass it with Obama, with Hillary, with all these other. But if we just donate to Bernie and AOC right now, we're going to get free healthcare. Free.
Yeah. So they subvert us by putting these vermin in there, pushing these things, and then we'll be against it. So then we're fighting for these oligarchs and what these oligarchs want, because these vermin are twisting and perverting these causes that we need, right? And so they bring in the demonocrats who they can figure out that part. Hey, these billionaires are not contributing anything to us. They're not doing anything good for humanity. We need to tax them, and that's right. The conservatives will go against that. The free patriots will go against that just because it's the other side. So they keep us in this blind dichotomy of left versus right, and whatever they're campaigning for, I got to be against it. I can't be an independent. I can't be a moderate. I can't make up my own mind. I can't have a third party. Oh, we can't have a third party because that dilutes the vote. So then you never end up with any diversity, and it just ends up this echo chamber flip flop. And they've
Thomas,
got
here was a sign. Here was a sign seen at that protest against the Satan ritual. Satan has no rights. Well, that's not very American of them.
Yeah. Well, it's a good sign in some respects. Probably someone's got some good points to make on the flip side of that. But it's a funny one, and Christians taking dominion there, I guess you could say, to say that Satan has no rights. But boy, they don't want us to have any human rights. They're really pissed off. More waves incoming of attacks on blockchain, on the people's money, calling everybody who would use it money launderers. This is coming out more and more and more. You're seeing more expansion of this from the New York slimes. And then you have, they're running the color revolutions again. They're really amping this up again. Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, coming out of this earthquake. I think it is a good opportunity. Maybe it'll get some more.
We're going to get to that. We'll get to that. Let me get through this news here. DOGE's ambitious Social Security Administration system overhaul. My mother actually right now, she went to the Social Security to sort out because they cut off her payment, one of them. So I got to talk to her after the show and find out what happened. But the DOGE has announced plans to migrate the Social Security Administration systems off of COBOL to a modern programming language within a few months. This rapid overhaul has raised concerns among software engineers and experts due to the complexity and the risks involved in updating legacy systems. Wouldn't that be funny if they say, "Oh, we lost all your data, and we don't have any money in your Social Security account"? Actually, that would be hilarious, I think. But oh, by the way, we are deducting it from this next paycheck. And you're like, what's my balance in my Social Security account? Who cares? And you just laugh in your face. That'll be hilarious. This initiative.
I'll censor myself to not educate criminals on how to do crime here.
The initiative aims to modernize the Social Security's infrastructure, but critics argue that the timeline is unrealistic and could potentially jeopardize system stability and benefit distribution. It's already, like I said, my mother and many other people are having problems. They're not getting their Social Security checks. So that's already happening.
Elon Musk was on this amazing interview on Fox News, the controlled opposition. I thought it was pretty good. It's very detailed to You got all of these different business people and people contributing to the DOGE panel and their investigation. So it's opening it up a little bit more transparency.
That's a segue. Here's a clip from it when Musk is asked that interview you're talking about on fake news, the war channel, Fox News last night.
Our goal is to reduce the deficit by $1 trillion. So from a nominal deficit of $2 trillion to try to cut the deficit in half to $1 trillion, or looked at it in total federal spending to drop the federal spending from $7 trillion to $6 trillion. So sort of at a high level, you should think of this as we want to reduce the spending by eliminating waste and fraud, reduce the spending by 15%, which seems really quite achievable. The government is not efficient, and there's a lot of waste and fraud. So we feel confident that a 15% reduction can be done without affecting any of the critical government services.
I see old duels over there acting like, wow, you could really do something if you got a 0% loan, just like these oligarchs that you're talking about earlier. You couldn't do anything, Duel. They know what's right and know what to do, and us peasants know nothing, and so we wouldn't even benefit with 0% interest rate loans like they all get at the Fed discount window.
Right, this is what I'm talking about. And Lutnick, your friend Lutnick, your new Commerce Secretary, is the king of that. He's got he's one of the 22 to 24 federal discount window access partners. So he's getting those low interest loans. Hey, it's our aardvark pals, and as Lawrence Summers, I spoke personally to Larry Summers a couple times at a couple big financial events, and he said he told me that the Fed it's kind of like an old boys club, and they're not there's no political will for innovation down there, and he was signing the money. He is the guy who's signing the money, putting his name on it. Treasury Secretary Lawrence Summers, who's now on the genocide board with Bill Gates and Scam Altman and Reid Hoffman, the big Jewish tech censorship cartel RICO orchestrator is Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn. They're all on the same board now, running their Stargate program with Larry Ellison, right? So I just want to address again because a lot of people haven't come across it yet. There's kind of this, just like the Democrats are running this op with Signal, they're running this fake intelligence get Trump operation with the chat room of Signal to entrap and try to make Trump look bad. Same thing with the Steele dossier and all of this fake whistleblowers and bullshit that they pulled for years, the Mueller report and all of this garbage. It's the same thing with Signal. And they're running another one against people, talking about the aardvark question, the JQ, right? The aardvark question. They're running another op to say that to implant that these people get zero interest loans, interest-free loans. Oh, the header ISCA program, this kind of thing. That's a psyop, a scam. That's another operation where they can get people, try to catch them in anti-Semitism and this kind of thing, because it's not actually true. That's just a scam where they just call it something else for political purposes, for religious purposes. They don't there's actually no cost savings at all under the header ISCA program. I'm researching different financial engineering methods where there might be some other potential benefit somewhere down the line, but I'm not seeing one as of yet. But there's nothing there. But of course, any of these elites, right? Once you're incredibly rich, let's say once Sam Cheney's got a huge channel and he's making a bunch of money from Weaponized News, and Alpha Omega Energy is large, and we have an IPO, etc. And let's say at some point in time, I would just hypothetically be a billionaire. Shouldn't I have some taxes on me, right? Shouldn't there be some forcing to make sure that I give back or contribute something to society, maybe actually do some of that charity, and not only incentives, but I just continue growing? What if I ignore all the incentives and I don't care and I'm a rich, greedy bastard like so many of these people are? We need to have something. And at that point, we can certainly afford it. So we need to become more independent on all of these different issues, wake up a little bit more, And so they've subverted both sides. It's we need to really become aware of this. It's taken me a long time to see through all of these different traps that they do to us. And for some people who want to use other people's money to invest, it's a very smart concept, as long as you have the right investment. And I've been offering this to the Weaponized News audience now. Since I'm not an American, I can't access the low interest rate environment in there. If somebody wants to take some loan, some finance in America and invest to Alpha Omega Energy, as an example, where you can earn a significantly higher rate of return, I will even pay the payments, because we can make cash profit on the money, and we will even pay the payments from here, just send you the monthly payments. So you don't have to pay anything.
Okay, we're not on the commercial break yet here, Thomas. You're jumping way ahead of me here. Let's get back.
Go ahead.
Let's get back to the news. Yeah, Musk had that interview last night. It was like 30 minutes on fake Fox News. Everybody can go watch that. We played that short clip. Detroit News tells us via the Washington Post, internal White House document details layoff plans across U.S. agencies. Federal officials are preparing for agencies to cut between 8 and 50% of their employees in the first phase of the Trump administration push to shrink government, according to an internal White House memo detailing the plan obtained by the Washington Post. So we're going to have AI government. Essentially, the document covers 22 agencies and doesn't have information in categories. Several people familiar with the document stressed that planning remains fluid and that the numbers do not necessarily reflect what agencies will ultimately cut. So they're looking, I guess we should protest it, because we're for corruption here and we hate Trump. And so we're probably going to have to protest that. There are protests coming up, big ones all over the world. But first, Musk is consolidating here now. Elon Musk is consolidating XAI. He says, well, I'll put it up here on the screen so everybody can see. XAI has acquired X, so it's a consolidation there in an all-stock transaction. The combination values XAI at 80 billion and X at 33. Ruckus, 33 billion. X is valued at 33 billion here. Since its founding 2 years ago, XAI has rapidly become one of the leading blah, blah, blah. It's the greatest AI ever. X is the digital town square, except for your sensors like we are right now, and you can't even see we're live streaming on there. Except for that part, he left that part out. Where more than 600 million active users go to find real-time source of ground truth, and in the last 2 years has been transformed into one of the most efficient companies in the world, positioning it to deliver scalable future growth. And yeah, so there you go, consolidation. There's going to be a world protest tomorrow. Global anti-Elon Musk protest planned at nearly 200 Tesla showroom locations. And so,
Wow.
Yeah. What's going to happen here? Is there going to be violence? Is there going to be fire bombings, Molotov cocktails? I would assume there'd be some violence at these. So if you do go to a anti-Elon Musk protest, which these same people 2 years ago loved and would protest you if you didn't say you love Elon Musk. So a strange turn of events we find ourselves in here now. Be careful if you go to one of these protests. Nearly 50 are planned in California alone. So I will be staying away from these protests because these people are crazy. And I don't particularly like Elon Musk or Tesla or any of it, but I'm not feeling fired up enough to go protest. I'm not feeling pro-corruption enough to go out and protest it tomorrow because I don't feel like getting caught up in all this BS. But and I'm sure there'll be, this is like a setup to be called a domestic terrorist by the friggin' Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. What do you think of, are you going to protest Elon there in Cambodia?
I might do it just for fun, just for something fun to do, maybe tomorrow or on Monday. Very hilarious that they're doing this, but no surprise. And this is part of the anti-breakthrough energy movement. I believe it is. No one really talking about that, but here they're getting the leftists, right, the conservatives. They successfully got
They're
them
going to go
against
fight
the
each other. The left wingers and the right wingers are going to go fight each other tomorrow over Teslas and Elon Musk. It's literally idiocracy.
right? And the DOD is still seizing all the energy technology. So whatever happened to Trump saying, right? Well, he never said it. How about Alex Jones and all of these XRP idiots saying, Trump's going to release all the technology? Not a single word, not a single peep, not a single technology has ever come out. Not a single innovator has ever been supported. And people like myself are banned on X more than ever before. And now they got the left even attacking, literally burning down the electric cars, the fake electric cars. They're not really electric cars, they're battery cars. They got them even attacking this. They successfully subverted all of the freedom lovers, the patriots, to be against breakthrough energy, to be against this, to see someone like myself and then attack and say, oh, this is one of those leftist DEI demons, a block, right? They successfully subverted the right, and now they're successfully subverting the left. So they get them both attacking this, right? And delaying this. And they've been talking about, the policy of the aardvarks, which they call, right? They're hiding behind a democrat administration, is to slow this down, slow down all the technology. You have got these conversations like continuously, Joe Rogan asking all of the technology guests about this, about the deep state slowing down the technology, slowing down the emergence of AI, slowing down all of this. And so now you have the this EACC movement coming out of, there used to be the altruism movement in Silicon Valley, and now there's EAC, the accelerated accelerated altruism movements in there they want to open up everything. They want to open source everything. They want to get everything going. And of course, Bill Gates and Scam Altman are fighting this. And Suchir Balaji, who was exposing that there's copying in the technology, that they're copying and stealing the copyrights of other people's technology. Scam Altman is doing that. He was then murdered, and he was trying to promote opening this up. And now Scam Altman has been removed from the board, but now adopted into the Bill Gates Genocide Board. And another, a wonderful announcement. Speaking of charity that these rich billionaire oligarchs do and don't do, Scam Altman pledged to give half of his net worth to the Bill Gates injection genocide regime called the Giving Pledge. So maybe I was wrong. They do give charity. It's interesting that they all give their charity to Bill Gates' genocide program. Isn't it interesting how they all pledge to do it?
Anything for global public health, Thomas.
I even signed the Giving Pledge, put it on my website before. Had no idea what it was really for. Had no idea what it was really about.
You're a hero.
Just like everybody thought it was actually real altruism, thought it was real, and later had to take it down in disgust and go have a shower to realize
they conned you. They conned you.
Yeah, I had to, go have a shower and realize what the hell I had that on my website. So now it's become a story.
Okay. Continuing here, Russian medical researcher at Harvard who protested the Ukraine war detained by ICE. But shouldn't everybody at Harvard be detained? I don't know, by ICE, by somebody. So I can't even pronounce her name. Last name Petrova. Their attorney said it's a woman. Her previous arrest in Russia and social media activity will almost certainly ensure a nice, hefty jail sentence for her if she's deported back to Russia. And so they're hemming people up here now with the ICE for their protest of these foreign wars. We've seen a bunch yesterday and all this week for protesting the aardvark genocide there. And now this one, Harvard researcher, here she is. We'll show a picture of her from a NBC report. She's now being detained for her protesting the Ukraine war. So, hey, better be careful if you're not. They may come after citizens next. Who knows? They're getting out of control. Trump challenges, but they're not doing the mass roundups of illegal aliens that we know. And I was reading, like, I forget, New York Times, Washington Compost, one of these New York Slimes, mainstream, right? The authoritative source, and they still cite the number. Oh, there was 14 million. There's way more than 14 million illegal aliens came in under the Biden administration. They've been using that number for like the last 20 years, man. So anyway, they're doing these high profile arrests of gang members, as they should, and other high profile criminals. But as far as this massive deportation plan, the biggest in U.S. history, as we were promised, it hasn't materialized at all. Trump challenges deportation block at Supreme Court. The Trump administration has appealed to the Supreme Court to intervene in a case regarding the Alien Enemies Act, seeking to overturn a lower court's decision that temporarily blocks the deportation of individuals believed to be in Venezuelan gangs. So remember, this judge, this one, all of them, like literally every executive order he's made has been blocked by a district judge. And so this is the judge that blocked the deportation of those Venezuelan gang members. Why would you do that? I don't know. It's just
Boasberg, another Berg, Boasberg. And Boasberg presided over the case to delay the Hillary Clinton emails coming out. That was the judge. It was Boasberg. He's the guy.
He's a good guy then.
Yeah, so he's the guy who's holding back all the files. This is the guy who's been doing that, and now he's trying to become Mueller 2.0. They're orchestrating this and there was a Signal Gate very recently where they were spying on, the NSA was spying on Signal conversations and spying on Tucker Carlson's conversations and on his Signal chats and whatnot. And Tucker Carlson was talking about this on his interviews on other podcasts. So that is already broken. And Tucker went to congressmen and talked to them about it, whatnot. And they're looking into this. And so Signal has already been, and that was pushed on everybody. They wanted to get everybody off of Telegram and onto something that they control, that they can access, that they can see into. So the deep state people were all pushing Signal, use Signal, use Signal. And even, of course, Elon Musk was pushing everybody to use Signal because that's their domain. They have that under the Total Information Awareness Program, under the NSA, CIA, etc., where they can capture all of this. Maybe Palantir has access to that. I don't know. Probably they do. And they can sift all of this information. And of course, if let's say there's two people, Sam and I are talking to each other, if they have a zero-touch software like Israel and all these criminals in the intelligence community have, they don't even need your access to your device. If they have your phone number, they can compromise your device without you doing anything. Zero-touch hacking, and they have the device. As soon as they have one device, they have all of this conversation. They have the screenshots. They have everything. So they don't need anything else. And they had access to all of the phone numbers in that conversation of Trump. They had all the phone numbers of those people, and the phone numbers and the passwords of the entire Trump administration was posted online in the internet. It's been up there for days before this new Signal event. So whoever posted that is a criminal. And Boasberg, not Boasberg, but Goldberg. Hey, another Berg. Bergs and Bergs. You got to keep it in the same family, right? So Goldberg, the Atlantic reporter, who was put in this room, Goldberg had access to the numbers before, and he's a IDF intelligence officer, previous IDF intelligence officer. Right?
Covered it yesterday. They're saying Better says that protesting war is anti-American. It is. Protesting war is anti-American. And then, don't worry about the Yemen bombing. Get distracted by Signal, Karen says.
Right. Even though they were talking about bombing Yemen in the Signal chat, right? People say, oh, there's no classified information there. So again, red versus blue, just defend your team, defend your cult without thinking. Oh, there's no classified information. Ignore it. Ignore the bombing of the residential block building with all of the innocent civilians.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Okay, USAID officially closed. The USAID operations terminated. Merger with State Department underway. The United States State Department has initiated the process to officially shut down USAID, United States Agency for International Development, and merge its functions with the State Department. This action follows a series of court orders and legislative discussions aimed at restructuring foreign aid operations. Approximately 900 USAID employees are affected by this decision, as all non-statutory positions are set to be eliminated. Secretary Little Marco Rubio, let's go to his post about it. He says, foreign assistance done right can advance our national interests, protect our borders, and strengthen our partnerships with key allies. Unfortunately, USAID strayed from its original mission long ago. As a result, the gains were too few and the cost too high. Thanks to President Trump, this misguided and fiscally irresponsible era is now over. We are reorientating our foreign assistance programs to align directly with what is best for Aardvark land and its citizens. No, he said United States and our citizens. We are continuing essential life-saving programs and making strategic investments that strengthen our partners and our own country. This is yet another promise made and delivered to the American people. Thank you. Aardvark land, thanks you very much, Little Marco. We do appreciate all the efforts there. But yeah, it's not going away in the functionality. It's just the actual USAID. Here's an image with a chain and a lock around their door. So USAID, no more. They're done until a district judge says you have to keep the fraud going, I guess, which I'm sure will come down very soon. So there you go. Very sad.
Yeah. It's John F. Kennedy wanted to, his idea for the Peace Corps and USAID and these kind of institutions was to build peace, send American engineers and innovators, people like myself, out all over the world to help develop and build our technology for development and companies in these countries and create peace, helping each other and lifting each other and this kind of thing. And hey, the Aardvarks turned it into a world genocide program for depopulation. I mean, how fantastic, right? Hey, there's your altruism. There's your charity.
That's innovation right there. They're leading the world in innovation. Okay.
It's a pivot. That's a pivot.
This woman, Trump's personal lawyer now, has officially been appointed U.S. Attorney for New Jersey, Alina Habba. Let's see a short video of her swearing in here today, because we were scared that she was not going to have a job.
You got no volume on this one coming through for some reason.
Thank you.
There we go.
Place your left hand on the Bible, all right, and raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I, Alina Habba, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any.
There you go. New U.S. Attorney for New Jersey sworn in. Okay, this one's crazy here to me. I don't know. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, former VP candidate with Kamala Harris, suggests the formation of a shadow government aimed at countering what he perceives as misinformation or lack of transparency from the Trump administration. What? Watch this video of him saying it. This guy wants a shadow government. Oh, maybe we should have a shadow government, I guess.
We see one of the first things they do is try and restrict the vote. This is one of the things, though, that this is going to take power to the streets. I don't know what the answer is on this, but I've been saying this. I think we need a shadow government, so when all these things come up every single day, we've got an alternate press conference telling the truth about what things are happening, telling what's going on.
What the hell? Is it me or is that crazy that this guy's saying that?
Take it to the streets, right? So violence.
No, he wants a shadow government to counter democracy. That's what you're screaming at us all day. And we had elections that you say are fair, the most fair in world history, and yet you want to have your own government. That I just don't get it, man.
Yeah, they've got to prevent the free speech of
How about
anybody
abolish
else.
the government? He couldn't say that. He has to say, let's build the government even bigger and another shadow government and have even more government. How about no government? They would never call for that, though.
Right, and this relates to the Signal coders, the staffers. They are all the most hardcore anti-Trump resistors. The three main coders, the board members. One is actually that NPR woman who
Yeah,
the
we
CEO
reported
of
on it
NPR.
yesterday.
Yeah, and then the other two, three main coders. One of them is a guy named Jay Sullivan, who looks a lot like Jake Sullivan. I haven't confirmed a family relation between Jay Sullivan of Signal and Jake Sullivan yet, but they certainly have the same view and same politics. And Jay Sullivan at Signal he was working for Twitter, he was working for Facebook, he worked for WhatsApp. So these are the people that were demanding the takedown of all of your accounts, the independents, the free speech people, the conservatives, the Republicans, and so on. These are your takedown leftist resistors, like Tim Walz, your pro-homosexuals, your pro-abomination stuff. They're the people that are
from misinformation, Thomas.
Right, and you can watch them on Joe Rogan talking about this, that they're against the truth coming out. They're all bioweapons pushers, and they want to make sure that these people can't get. They were pushing freedom of speech, not freedom of reach, so censorship way before Elon Musk was and is now doing it against you. So that's who these people are at Signal, and of course they're going to have backdoor access to their own stuff. They will lie that they don't have it, but people making this code, they're all going to generally have some form of access, even for engineering purposes, just to manage whatever it is. And then, of course, the U.S. government is demanding access into all of that, just like France illegally arrested and seized as a prisoner of war Pavel Durov of Telegram, demanding access into his personal platform, even though it's supposed to be a private corporation. They're supposed to be hands off of that, just like they're doing with Section 230. But France has hijacked that. So that's what's going on there. And people need to realize that it's all an operation, again, the witch hunt to get Trump and frame them and take them down from the inside. And these Signal people are involved in that. So use Telegram, support Pavel Durov, get off everything else. And,
if you want anything secure, you better write a note and then hand it to them and then burn it afterwards, because everything else is wiretapped. Okay. Here is what's Trump done in 67 days. Trump has signed 107 executive orders. Again, rule through fiat. If the Republicans, who control both houses of the Congress and the executive branch, if they actually had their stuff together and they were serious about their conservative governing, they'd be passing actual laws, not relying on Trump's executive orders here, which, as we continue to go over and everybody knows, can be and will be overturned the next time a Democrat gets in office there. And so they say President Trump, record-breaking, has signed 107 executive orders that literally almost every one of them is challenged and overthrown by a district court judge and will be overthrown by the next Democrat president. And so there you go. Not a constitutional way to govern, actually, here now. We should make executive orders illegal, and then we wouldn't even have to deal with any of this nonsense, and make Congress actually do their job instead of fake hearings and political theater for sound bites. They should actually do their job and pass the laws that they want to govern this country, and not rely on these executive orders that are BS coming from a Democrat or a Republican.
Yeah, and the next Democrat will have an even bigger stack of fake executive orders, all blank, just like last time, in the fake Oval Office in the Hollywood movie studio down the road, with the mainstream fraud news media lying for 4 years that you're all conspiracy theorists for talking that it was.
Nobody knew that Biden was cognitively impaired. It was widely reported when he was vice president that he had brain surgery for a freaking aneurysm in his brain. Yeah, nobody knew he had a problem with his brain. It's just, it's right. Idiocy, and lies.
Next one looking up and saying, you guys, I don't even know what I'm signing. The pages are all blank. What am I even signing?
Just sign it. And they're like, right. Joe, just go to the beach. We got an auto pin sign. It's fine.
Right.
We take your word that
right. Criminal pals in advance, years in advance, and Lutnick's partners over at Frauderna pardoning all of them in advance as well. So, wow, it's just so outrageous. That should be criminal, but we'll see what the Trump administration does. He's revoked these EOs, but that attempt to push those EOs in the first place, signing a fountain pen where the chief executive doesn't even know what the hell's going on, that I would assume that that's a criminal act. That's a federal document fraud.
Constitutional government. There's Barry. Barry came right in to tell us. Everybody missed you, Barry. That's a great. That was a great prompt for the live commercial break here, Thomas. Go ahead, and you got it ready, or you want me to go first?
You go ahead.
Okay, get your commercial ready. Our commercial here at Weaponized News. Go to weaponizednews.com/shop. Get some stickers over there. We take donations too, by the way, and give us a subscription on our YouTube, on our Rumble. We did get a few more subscribers on the Rumble. On YouTube and Rumble, I think, shall be our main channels until we're banned off of there, but we shall go for there. We are monetized on the old Rumble, but the nature of our show says that we don't talk good. We're going to start talking good about Peter Thiel, about scientific dictatorship, technocracy, transhumanism. It's all good. Everybody should take the chip and all this kind of stuff. And so we're going to start promoting. We're pro mark of the beast here now, and corruption. And so as to actually get seen on Rumble, maybe, like we say, we hate Trump for YouTube, and then hopefully that will boost us in the algorithm there. I do see we got a few new YouTube subscribers. Simon may have went on old George Galloway. I didn't even have a chance to check today, but usually if he goes on there, we get some subscribers for that. Or maybe it was our great show yesterday. I don't know. But thank you to all the new subscribers on the YouTube. So simply go to Weaponized News YouTube and give us a subscription, and that will wrap up my live commercial break. Go to weaponizednews.com/shop and get some stickers over there, and check out a cat ID tag, dare I say, or dog. Okay, Thomas, hit us with your commercial here.
Yeah, and speaking of supporting Weaponized News and making subscriptions, Alpha Omega Energy now has a subscription matching program for anybody that is going to support Sam Cheney's wonderful work in educating the public and covering all of these important issues from an independent perspective, moderate perspective, instead of being sold out to the cult, one side or another. For all those making new subscriptions to Weaponized News, we will match to some percentage level. The more you do, the more you get with our upcoming token that I'm almost done the research work into all of the stuff we have to do for Binance. And we're going to list an ERC20 token on the Binance exchange, which is pretty exciting for Alpha Omega Energy, and then take an investment in scale and then change the world with a real breakthrough energy, not fake battery cars, but actually real breakthrough energy. finally. So we'll see what they do. We'll see if I get shot with a drone, with machine guns on drones, like the aardvarks do to the Iranian scientists. I'll be extra diligent, scanning the skies for inbound drones, as they've done multiple times before, as shown on the news. So go to Weaponized News and support Sam Cheney with a subscription, and send in the proof that you've done that, your receipts, whatnot, to myself. You can do that via X, or ask Sam to do it, or send it to my Telegram at AOE Black Swan. That's at AOE Black Swan, and then we will send you a form and some information on the program, and you can get a huge matching for that. Just one more thing that we can do collectively for the human audience that's fighting back for humanity, and for these wonderful people like Sam Cheney for getting us a little bit more exposure, being probably one of the most censored founders in human history on X, and the Reid Hoffman RICO cartel, big Jewish tech criminal mafia that is like Tim Walz, demanding that there be no actual truth out there, and you to not have the right to actually say what you want, or vote for who you want, or support what you want. That's got to be countered, and you need a shadow government. How dare you, if you want actual citizens of your country doing the voting, not everybody else, and 196-year-olds on the Social Security program. Thank you.
It's kind of a big deal, and it's hard to take them even seriously, but the governor of Minnesota is saying we need a shadow government. Like, what? At a public rally? Like, what the? Arrest this freaking guy for sedition.
A second one. We already have one. Smedley Butler told us about that.
I just call it the government now. Yeah, I just call it the government now. But yeah, many others have said it. Woodrow Wilson said it. Edward Bernays in his book Propaganda said it. And so it's well established that there's the oligarchical power behind the scenes pulling the strings on the marionette. That's well established going on here, but calling for it at a public rally now, it's like, wow, dude, wow.
Yeah, he demands, like Barry says here, he demands to turn all the friggin' frogs gay with atrazine, which atrazine actually has been proven.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We quickly for YouTube. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, let's do let's do this first. Short video from Trump. He's gonna give Washington D.C. a makeover, right? Is what he's proposing. Here's a short video. I say, how about we kick Washington D.C., which is not even a state, or it's like a weird thing, a district, right? And so I say we kick that out of the United States. How about that idea? Everybody wants to leave. Secede from the Union. How about we just build a wall around Washington D.C. and keep all the criminals there in, and just call that a 15-minute city, and they can all live there and do all the corruption against each other, and we'll just rename it hell. Here is a video out of the Trump administration about giving Washington D.C. a makeover.
We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. We will take over our horribly run Washington, D.C. and clean up, renovate, and rebuild our capital so that it is no longer a nightmare of murder and crime. We're going to get all the graffiti off the marble. We're going to fix the roads and the medians, which are falling down all over the streets. Washington, D.C. will become a symbol of beauty, security, freedom, and strength.
It should be condemned from the rest of the country.
How's he going to afford to do that when he's sending all the money to gay puppet Zelensky and for Israel to bomb the hell out of all of these countries?
Not Israel, Aardvark land. Here, this is for our folks over there at YouTube. See? And they said the poster here, Dr. Clown, said that first time I've actually laughed at a left-wing meme. So it is a pretty good one. See, and that's a thumbnail for this video as well. And for the YouTube community standards over there, we hate Trump. You hear us, AI, listening to the show? We hate Trump. We'll die. What did he said? Bronson said something like, we'll fight till my dying breath to expose Trump's corruption, something like this. So there we are. YouTube, boost our post, please. Okay. Last year, is the United States tough on subversion or violating natural rights? Here is Little Marco talking about. Little Marco says 300 plus foreign student visas have already been revoked. Let's watch this as the crackdown on the low-hanging fruit is happening right now, but they are still not doing the heavy lifting on deportations.
I think it's stupid for any country in the world to welcome people into their country that are going to go to your universities as visitors. They're visitors. And say, I'm going to your universities to start a riot. I'm going to your universities to take over a library and harass people. I don't care what movement you're involved in. We do it every day. Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
You're saying it could be more than 300
sure,
visas?
I hope. I mean, at some point, I hope we run out because we've gotten rid of all of them.
So, on one end, like I said in my post, I said tough on subversion or violation of natural rights. So I don't know. It feels like the government always overplays their hand, and so at one level you say, yeah, good, get the subversives out of this country, but they always overplay their hand and wind up sweeping up innocent people in the dragnet, and they wind up suffering for it as well. But yeah, if I was here on a visa, I'd be damn careful talking bad about the government if I was you, visa holders. Okay.
Trump been looking very tan orange lately. Jennifer White House says that's yeah. He's obviously trolling them and trying to bring on the orange man thing, and then it's the left will get completely distracted. So he's a master at this. He's going to get the left all distracted in the orange man bad thing, and that's what they'll be focused on instead of actually anything of any substantive value, which they don't really have anything of substantive value to say ever anyway. But he's going to get them on this, only a matter of time, TikTok. So just watch, and hopefully they do. This just plays right into his hand, I guess you could say. And this, while the left is so subverted against themselves, it's amazing the manipulation job that's being done on them. It is just so amazing. Indeed. I trust the science of social engineering and mind control because you could see it working in live time. Okay. Mississippi, the state of Mississippi has eliminated state income tax. Governor Tate Reeves of Mississippi has signed into law House Bill 1, which plans for a complete elimination of state income tax. This change will be implemented gradually, allowing Mississippians to retain more of their earnings over time. The signing of this bill marks a significant shift in state fiscal policy aimed at boosting economic growth by not taxing personal income. So I think they'll probably make it up in other ways here now, but it's been proven in studies that reducing income taxes, actually the taxation rate for one, they did it under Kennedy and Bush, reducing the income tax rate actually increases government tax revenue over time. It's been proven that policy does work, but the Democrats hate you having anything and want you poor as they scream, we're doing this for the poor. So, right. And of course, it increases the economic growth by giving the consumers more money in the small businesses, which are the job creators, create 99% of the jobs. This is small businesses. Reducing their taxation frees up money, which results in more consumer spending, more purchases of the local goods, products, and services, which then creates more jobs and creates more tax revenue from the additional jobs and more economic growth and development, increases the GDP. So that is a very positive. But at some point in time, that will become a net negative once these, it's not the gigantic corporations that are the massive job creators. That's not what's happening. The statistics show that. So maybe we can do an austerity haircut of these, right? You got $4, $5, $6 trillion of wealth that was shifted from the working class, the middle class, almost totally just gutted out, just holed out, and all of this shifted up to these elite oligarchs. Maybe we can give them a Europe-style austerity haircut and bring this down and give them a carbon tax dividend check or something. Why don't we, if you're going to carbon tax anybody, which Elon Musk is advocating for, by the way, why don't we shift that up to them and have them pay it and have the dividend come down to the right, the citizens, not like Justin Trudeau is doing, making all the citizens and small businesses pay for it, taxing the slaves even more. That would be great. But
let's
hopefully
go to this story that you sent me here, Thomas, about former Republican State Senator Ray Holmberg, another Berg, coincidentally enough. He has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for traveling to Europe over a dozen times to abuse young boys sexually. Let's watch this report from their local news about it. A good Republican in the vein of Lindsey Graham, dare I say.
We begin with breaking news. Former North Dakota Senator Ray Holmberg has just been sentenced to 10 years in prison. The sentencing hearing started at 9:30 this morning, and a judge just ruled about 30 minutes ago. Valley News Team's Bobby Falla has been in the courtroom all day. He joins us live with the details. Bobby.
Yeah, hey, Courtney, we just got out of this courtroom about a half an hour ago. Like you said, we started at 9:30. We weren't done till about 4:30, and that is when the judge gave down that sentence like you asked for. Now, both the prosecution and the defense, they were asking for somewhere between a 37 to 46 a month sentence. The judge ruling that some of his quotes that saying that the 37 to 46 months was too difficult to understand, and that the crimes that were being committed were far worse than child porn, that they were comparing this case to some of those. So very kind of shocking when it came down. That said that, you know, the sentence should be vary from anywhere from 97 to 121 months. 121 months was the sentence that the judge handed down. He'll have 10 years and 1 month, and then 10 years of supervised probation. Now, the judge did say that obviously Ray Holmberg will have a chance to appeal. We're not exactly sure when exactly that will be the case, but a lot is happening, and right now we're actually kind of just waiting behind the courthouse for the prosecutors to kind of come out to see if we were able to get a statement. We have not been able to contact the defense attorney at this time for a statement, but we'll be sure to keep an eye out for that. Reporting outside the federal courthouse in Fargo, Bobby Fallett, Valley News Live.
Should get capital punishment for this guy, but almost a death sentence there. What is he? How old was he? He's already an old ass man.
Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to the capital punishment for these child molesters and whatnot? I mean, it's just outrageous. But hey, it's another case of the Bergs getting a nothing burger. The Bergs getting a nothing burger. Rules for thee, not for me. And probably he'll just expatriate himself to Aardvark land, and that nothing will happen. And hey, they're supposedly the gayest place. They're proudly campaigning this week on the media that they're the gayest country in the world. The highest rates of gay sodomites in the entire world is in Aardvark land, and they're very proud about that fact.
Holmberg served 45 years in the North Dakota Senate as a Republican. So there you go. Why is everything corrupt? Because these are our, quote, representatives, people like Ray Holmberg.
Interesting, you have this trial going on, this case going on, and not a single peep from any of the media anytime at all until actually there's a sentencing. How about that? So they're covering up these kind of cases, the development of it. Once there's a final sentencing, then they just a little pleep from one station, a conservative station, you could say, on the right part of the Fox News controlled opposition network, but maybe some conservatives in there finding it newsworthy and making sure they report on it. But a total blackout from the Aardvark media, of course, the rest of it. So probably they'll get fired for reporting on that shortly. and that's this, right?
Oh man, this guy is not Aardvark, they say.
No,
I don't know.
I don't know. He kind of looks it to me, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, it's just. But you see this in these cases. There was recently, I've been talking about it the last couple of shows, in Southern California. You have this rabbi running multiple criminal rings of like a dozen or so other people working in and around in concert with the synagogue in wild criminal conspiracies to defraud U.S. government, American corporations, Fortune 500 corporations, like the disability department and others, and stealing millions and millions and millions of dollars. And then you have an aardvark district attorney that gets rid of all of the cases, all of the counts, like should be been at least eight to maybe 20, 30 different counts for this rabbi, gets rid of them all, only gives him one, and then gives only 14 months, exactly like this Berg, right? Gives only 14 months. And then he gets only a 14-month sentence for one charge. And in a comparison, look at what Roger Ver is facing. Roger Ver is facing 109 years in prison with a huge list of counts, right? When he's not even an American citizen, they have no jurisdiction. He's been living outside of the country for like a decade, more than a decade, for supposedly for tax evasion and wire fraud and this other bullcrap, when he had literally teams of lawyers and accountants taking care of this to make sure that he would never possibly run afoul of the law. And they're going after him, weaponizing against him because, right, he's getting them off of the central bank, off the aardvark central banking system. And that's a big no-no. They're going to come after you. So he doesn't get a 14 months. He doesn't get a one count. So it's right. It's that TV show, Where Have We Seen This Before? And you look and, hey, the name, we'll see. I mean, they don't all have to look like a Chuck Schumer to be instantaneously, there's a lot of different looks. So I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but.
Okay, continuing here. The big news of the day, the big win that we got. Utah becomes first state to ban public water fluoridization. So there you go. Utah Governor Spencer Cox signed the legislation barring cities and communities from deciding whether to add the mineral, they say in AP here, to their water systems. That's the whole problem, is it's not the mineral. It's some toxic waste concoction, a byproduct of aluminum and nuclear production that they call fluoride. It's what hydrofluoric acid, and they say that's fluoride and conflate it with the naturally occurring mineral. That's always been the problem, and Associated Press knows this.
Well, even the naturally occurring mineral is not something that you should ever put into your body. The element is fluorine on the periodic table, which is in the upper top right corner, which is the most electronegative substance known to mankind, which completely destroys and causes massive electrical dysfunction in your nervous system. And that's why they use fluorine in all of the neurodepressant drugs, the antipsychotic drugs, the anti-depressant drugs. They use fluorine in it. Why? Because it deadens your nervous system. It kills your nerve cells. It causes dysfunction in your nervous system's ability.
Neurotoxin.
So you become a left-wing drone NPC robot, and so many of them are so strung out that they instantly put them onto these kind of drugs to turn them into just non-thinking drones. You should never put fluorine into your body. It's wildly toxic, wildly poisonous. There is no inert form of fluorine to put into the human body. So just to expand on that.
They're protesting for fluoride. They're saying they're going to add it to their own drinking water now. Florida, Ohio, South Carolina are also considering similar measures. Well, North Hampshire, North Dakota, and Tennessee. I don't know what, New Hampshire, excuse me. New Hampshire, North Dakota, and Tennessee lawmakers have rejected such proposals to ban the fluoridation of the drinking water. And the studies came out, multiple studies, that it reduces children's IQ, that it's a neurotoxin. So I think it's a big win overall for public health here. And if you want fluoride added to your own water, don't subject everyone in the public to your science and scream science. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, why can't they do it themselves at their houses?
They
Why do
can
they have-
eat all the toothpaste you want, idiots. You know what I mean? And then scream science at your television, and then that'll be the greatest achievement of your life, most likely. Okay, but again,
upload the videos to TikTok so we can watch it.
yeah. So again, a great win for public health there in Utah. The Mormons getting it done there. Okay, RFK pushes ban on soda while being purchased on food stamps. And so they scream he wants to ban soda, but then they leave out the part, well, when you're buying it on the SNAP program, publicly funded welfare, essentially. So he wants to ban that. And of course, we're outraged by that because why would we care about diabetes, obesity, epidemics in this country, in large part due to soda? And so we scream that he wants to ban soda and leave out the part that it's actually for buying soda with SNAP benefits, which is essentially welfare. So yeah, we scream about it.
Yeah, and you could of course just ban what's actually being put into the soda, and the harmful things that are being put into the soda, CO2 put in there, right? You have some carbonated water. That's not going to harm you. That can actually have
It's not good for your stomach. The CO2 is not good for your stomach digestive system.
But that's not so bad for you.
Not as bad as the other ingredients, yeah.
There can actually be some benefit to having some CO2 in your stomach, so it's not all good bad. Versus the phosphoric acid that they put inside of Coke. That is incredibly caustic. It can melt cement. So the cement workers that come by and do the cement work in your garden, in your landscape, in your fancy little concrete gnomes and all of these things, and your curbs and that, they use phosphoric acid when they do a little spill, and they always spill a little bit to clean up after. They use phosphoric acid to literally melt the cement and wipe that all away to clean it up. And you can imagine if it can melt cement, what does it do to your cells?
I'm sure it's fine.
Right, and phosphorus, of course, when we use this in sticky bombs, in napalm, in white phosphorus, it's famously known for sticking to your flesh, sticking to your skin, sticking to your endothelial tissues. It just completely sticks and you can't get it off, right? So when they put this into you, it sticks into your arteries, it sticks all inside of your intestines everywhere. And then it has a knack for attaching these long chain fatty acids to it, which attach, and then you have these oil-like flagella, and they call that in chemical engineering E. coli. So then you get this, and then your body must launch an immune response against that, right? Fake immunity, a human defense response, and then it will cause the inflammation, causing the inflammation, which then they blame the inflammation. They say, oh, inflammation is a cause of disease. No, they put phosphoric acid in the Coke, and they put it, that's what's in the backbone of DNA, which is a chemical weapons platform. That's what's in the mRNA, coating, lining the inside of your arteries and lining the inside of your heart. Then all of these fatty acids get stuck in there inside of your heart. Then your defense system goes and attacks that inside of your heart, causing the myelitis, causing all of the myocarditis, a total destruction of the heart lining inside. And then you're
I'm sure it's fine, Thomas. It's been FDA approved. It's fine.
Yes, but they're not talking about the molecules, the actual mechanisms of this. It's nice to see them ban soda on the food stamps program, but there needs to be deeper exposure of what's actually going on and how this is working, and hopefully we'll get to that. I seem to be the only person educating on the molecular functions of that.
Gunther says that food cards supported as tobacco, beer, and tattoos for years. Well, good use of your food stamps there, Gunther. Okay, moving on. Bobby Kennedy Jr. challenges West Virginia Governor Morrissey to lose weight. Let's watch this short clip. He calls him out for being 30 pounds overweight. So, of course, fat shaming, quite horrific here by Bobby Kennedy Jr.
I got to know, I said to Dr. Morris, or Governor Morrissey, the first time I saw him, I said, "You look like you ate Governor Morrissey." And there was a lot of talk about getting healthy again, and I'm very happy that he's invited me to be his personal trainer. And I am going to put him on a really rigorous regimen. And we're going to put him on a carnivore diet. We're going to make him raise your hand if you want Governor Morrissey to do a public weigh-in once a month. And then when he's lost 30 pounds, I'm going to come back to the state and do a celebration and a public weigh-in with him.
Damn, fat shaming Bobby Kennedy.
Fat shamer! Fat shamer!
HHS accesses more than $300 million in gender DEI-related health grants to California. I'm sure they'll be sued over this. And yeah, so that's out of Fox News headline. Let me just throw that up there. I'm sure this will be challenged because God forbid we don't fund California public health insanity here. YouTube, we fully support everything California and World Health Organization does. And Karen's starting to get it. She said now we should be pro-toxins in our food. You're starting to get it with the pro-corruption, pro-toxins, and we're just badly mistaken. Here is Bobby Kennedy Jr. admitting, again, we played this yesterday, but this is a classic clip. He admits here now on Jesse Waters' Fox show that he flew on Epstein's jet twice, kind of very, very sus, as the kids say, very suspicious.
You weren't ever on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times.
You weren't ever on Jeffrey Epstein's jet, were you?
I was on Jeffrey Epstein's jet 2 times.
So that's like an all-time classic right there. What? You were on it 2 times? Wait, but yeah.
And seen hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell on many occasions as well. And who knows? Of course, he's got a incredibly checkered past. You could certainly say that a lot of people have been exposing, and certainly Dr. Shiva, who ran against him for president before it was whittled down to just Trump versus Mr. Braindead and the shadow government behind him. Shiva's been exposing Bobby Kennedy endlessly, and it's very strange how Kennedy is the most pro-Aardvark land guy that you've ever seen before, and his mouth completely sealed shut on the JFK files now that they implicate Aardvark land in this kind of thing. So very strange to actually see that, and very strange to see him defend the injections regime, and the Memorandum 200 climate regime. Very, very weird to see that. So a lot of people, the MAGA Republicans, complaining about this. They've been stabbed in the back. They're not getting what they thought they were getting, and they're complaining as well how as soon as Trump gets into office, nothing happened like they expected, but instead you have Larry Ellison paraded instantaneously with Scam Altman and their Stargate project, $500 billion. The big project, the biggest project of the Trump administration is the warp speed Stargate. Hand it all to Scam Altman, hand it all to Larry Ellison, hand it to Bill Gates and everything else. Okay, Bill Gates is out of the picture, but all of his partners on his board are handed all of the massive money in the biggest. So hey, he'll be in the back. Take a step back, and then the next line of puppets.
Hey, we also got from the peace president, and we'll get to that later, over 100 unconstitutional illegal bombings of Yemen. And so we also got that great treat. But back to the UK here, the big dogs. You're bad if you're white in England. Now, we reported on this before when it was coming out of their parliament. But now again, it's coming back up. UK sentencing guidelines. You're going to get a more harsh sentence if you're white in England, where I thought it was white, but apparently not. Let's see this report again. Yeah, if you're white, you're bad in England, the home of the white man. So there you go. This is white supremacy on parade.
Well, I'm disappointed in this response, and the Lord Chancellor is obviously continuing to engage on this, and we're considering our response. And all options are on the table, but I am disappointed at this outcome, and now we'll have to consider what we do as a result.
Well, let's cross live to our political editor, Christopher Hope. Now, it seems to me, Chopper, that the politicians want the Sentencing Council to change their direction here, but they're not willing to legislate to do so. They're in a bit of a war of words here.
Yes, they are. And hi, Charlie. Hi, Nana. Welcome to Huddersfield, where it's pretty cold up here. I've been talking to the Prime Minister moments ago. I asked him twice, will you just scrap the Sentencing Council? It's a quango. You have the power to scrap it. What you don't do is have the power to overrule it. And frankly, the judges now are looking back at the elected politicians here, both Sir Keir Starmer and Shabana Mahmood, who is a Justice Secretary, and saying, I'm afraid to say, these are what's going to happen. And from Tuesday, this is what will happen. Judges will prepare pre-sentencing reports where necessary. And if someone is of ethnic, cultural or faith minority, or a young person under 25, or a woman or a pregnant woman, they will get a special sentencing report. Normally those pre-sentencing reports do mean that the sentence is mitigated, that time is taken off for a jail term, for example. What it means, though, is that white men are going to be treated a lot tougher by judges from Tuesday compared to other groups in society. And that is unacceptable to the Prime Minister. He said in terms there, I said twice, would you scrap the Sentencing Council? He said all options are open. Shabana Mahmood, she's the Justice Secretary, she's put out a note just moments ago. She said that in her view, these guidelines represent clear differential treatment under which someone's outcomes may be influenced by their race, culture or religion. This is unacceptable, says the Justice Secretary, and I formally set out my objections, she says, in a letter to the Sentencing Council last week. She is extremely disappointed, she says, by what's happened here. All options on the table, that same language used there by Keir Starmer, and they will legislate if necessary. The question now, though, is can they legislate by Tuesday? The answer surely is not. It will take months and months, and in that period, there'll be a lot of uncertainty, I think, for white men in front of the judges.
There you go. If you're white in England, home of the white man, home of white supremacy, you're bad. The cat made another appearance. This is a different cat, Barry. You see, this one's Calico. This one's Leia. And so maybe that's why we got more followers.
The Weaponized News Cat. I love the Weaponized News Cat. Hello, Weaponized News Cat. So hopefully the Weaponized News Studio will not get raided by the FBI shortly in a swatting, where Keir Starmer and his pals will genocide the cats. Remember when they were all demanding that the cats be culled and the dogs be culled? Remember that? And PETA, what happened to PETA? They're dead silent. They had nothing to say about it, showing that they're just a completely fake organization used to weaponize the left.
PETA did call out Fauci for his Beagle experiments. I'll give him credit for that. Okay, more international geopolitical news here. The cat's scratching the background. Stop it, cat. Okay, this is what Myanmar, before we get to the earthquake, I saw this story last night. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that. That sounds crazy. Myanmar rebels disrupt China rare earth trade, sparking regional scramble. When armed rebels seized northern Myanmar's rare earth mining belt in October, they dealt a blow to the country's embattled military junta and wrestled control of the key global resource. By capturing sites that produce roughly half the world's rare earths, the Kachin Independence Army, KIA, rebels have been able to throttle the supply of minerals used in wind turbines and electric vehicles. I know, God forbid. Where's, what do they call it? Extinction Rebellion protesting the Myanmar rebels, huh? the KIA is seeking leverage against neighboring China, which supports the junta and has invested heavily in rare earth mining in Myanmar's Kachin state. So all that is going on in the background here now of this crazy earthquake that happened. Let's watch one of these buildings. And then we have a comparison, of course, with the Twin Towers. And so watch this collapse, though, this video first of a building that was, I think it was reported 33 stories, but this building was under construction. And let's just watch it fall into its own footprint. It's almost like bin Laden was pissed off at this building or something. I don't know. Let's take a look. And so, of course, I blame the Houthis in Yemen for this, and they deserve to be bombed for that Myanmar building collapsing there.
And that was, interestingly enough, a made-in-China building. That was a Chinese construction project by Chinese designers and Chinese construction companies. In fact, the 10th Railway Engineering Division of China, and they are building buildings all over the Southeast Asian nations under the Belt and Road Initiative project. And they built buildings like that, just not quite that big, of collapses in Cambodia. So there have been Chinese building collapses like this before, where they weren't even earthquakes and the buildings collapsed. So and probably we'll be seeing a lot more of that in the future, particularly in the developing countries where you don't have the Chinese governmental supervision, but you have much more lax rules in the oversight in these countries, and potentially a lot more corruption, where the Chinese companies have huge amounts of money, and then they're doing the bribery that they're famously known to do, and they do a hell of a lot of that in Myanmar. And the Myanmar government, the military, caught them, and accused them publicly all over social media of rigging the selections, not only with selections machines, but in other means, bribery of officials, and fake ballots and ballot stuffing and all kinds of things. And they publicly accused George Soros and Soros organizations of rigging the selections in there, seized his offices, arrested all of his people in those offices, seized his bank accounts in Myanmar, and banned him from ever stepping foot in the country again.
Well, they're against democracy there. That's what the problem is.
So, well, you got all of the your NGO, USAID, CIA, and Aardvark intelligence media slandering them that they're supposedly against democracy. How dare they protect their own country? How dare they do any investigations into their own selections, and the bribery of public officials by foreigners, famously known for doing color revolutions, as Soros is doing in all of these countries. How dare they look into that? How dare they, right? So they're anti-democracy. How dare the military realize that their country's being hijacked, and then they get things under control? How dare Myanmar prevent these waves of Muslim terrorist migrants attacking the police stations across the border, saying what's happening in America, and then they block that and stop that? Well, how dare they, have all of these Bangladeshis, these Islamic terrorists coming across, taking their land, squatting on their land, and whatnot, and protect their own sovereignty. Of course, sovereignty is bad. That's so evil. You can't have that. So, of course, they're going to slander the Myanmar government, right?
Let's show a clip side by side of the Twin Tower over there, the World Trade Center in 9/11, and one of these buildings there in Myanmar collapsing today due to the 7.7 magnitude earthquake, aka Yemen Houthi attack. So the clear solution is to gear up bombing of Yemen. Let's watch. Here's a mashup from Daily Mail video about some of these videos are crazy. Let's watch this. Let's watch this mashup. This one's with the crane, and there was another one with the crane, but that might get you flagged because they zoomed in and you could see the crane operator literally fall to his death quite tragically. But let's watch this this mashup of some of the damage caught on video at Myanmar 7.7 magnitude earthquake today.
Allah.
Quite an amount of damage there.
Yeah, there'll probably be thousands, dead. But you can see many people were fleeing out of the buildings, out of the skyscrapers, because of the waving of some of these buildings, but the big buildings didn't collapse. Just that one that was being built, this Chinese built rag of a building, and many corners being cut, and all of these governments, wherever these Chinese companies building, there needs to be additional scrutiny into the buildings and into the design wherever they're involved, and because you're going to see this happening more and more and more across the world, right? With these made in China products, and you have this happens in China at a very frequent rate. These buildings collapsing in there, especially when there's any kind of seismic activity, and the buildings are built so poorly, and they cut corners a lot, and they drop. So this is a very common occurrence. I lived in China for 5.5 years. I think there was maybe 20 different buildings that collapsed in the news that I saw, and I'm sure I did not see all of them, but I saw those. There's many. It's like every other month there's another building coming down somewhere in China, but it's just kind of swept away, and they like to keep a really positive vibe in the general news in there. But this is there's a lot of problems with the corruption in China in the building sector, and we've seen these the biggest construction companies in China in these wild embezzlement scandals and wild massive bankruptcies like Evergrande and all of the others. There's been dozens of them where they're taking all of the different building materials out of the building, over-reporting what's in there, and using less material so that they can embezzle money out for the directors and whatnot. I mean, it's a continuous thing where they're cutting corners, I guess you could say, but it's much worse than that. And entire building zones where you got 10 to 20 skyscrapers have had to be blown up, demolitioned by the inspectors in China because all of the buildings were faulty like that, right? So we see this continuously, and that's going to become a bigger problem as all of these Chinese divisions are out in these other countries and building, and they just don't have the standards and the ethics and the oversight. And then where bribery takes its place, 70,000 NGOs doing bribery, and that's supposed to be in the do-gooder sector. You can imagine in the private shady business culture of Guangxi, which is one of the biggest parts of Chinese business, Guangxi, which literally means to bribe, and that's their business culture. Guangxi, bribery, pay for play. I mean, they believe that it's such an important part of Chinese culture to be involved in that, in the bribery of people, and it's completely supported. They don't have this Christian value that's anti-bribery. They're 100% for bribery. It's part of their culture. It's a very proud part of their culture, in fact. So, how does the world deal with that? I would love to see Trump actually address the Chinese culture of bribery, guangxi.
I'm sure they're good guys, philanthropists, and they're doing right by their community. Yeah, look at that. That what do they call
there's
them?
Their pile of altruism charity right there.
There you go. Carrie said tofu buildings. Yeah, they look like tofu buildings. Damn. Quite horrific there. Not really following building code.
Made in China. Everybody can post that pile with a "Made in China" on it, and
the Trump administration should jump on that and be promoting American made right there. Even though the same thing would happen when you're using cheap concrete and cheap rebar to any construction, regardless of who builds it. As we've seen over
fake rice rebar, right?
Here's another look at that crane collapse, and the operator falls to his death, sadly, tragically. Let's watch this again with the affinity pools spilling over as well. But quite shocking, the crane that was still on this building doing some work, I suppose with an operator on it, all crashes to the ground here. Barry says collapsing like the planned demolition of society. Well, you could run that parallel. So yeah, quite horrific. Let's pray for Taiwan, Myanmar, South Asia region there hit by the 7.7 magnitude earthquake today. And like Thomas said, I'm sure thousands will be dead once the dust settles and they dig. Hundreds are already being reported dead. So once they dig out the rubble there, I'm sure thousands will be dead.
And you're going to have the waves of fake charities and the NGO people racing in. I'm happy to see some more attention on Myanmar. That's fantastic, because there's been really a media blackout since they were slandering the government there for retaking control of their sovereignty. So this is nice that they will get some attention. Myanmar is very underdeveloped and needs more development and whatnot. And but all of these corrupt, fake development orgs and fake NGOs will go in there swooping and trying to get donations and whatnot. But at least there'll be something going in there, a little bit, maybe 1% of whatever it is that they start talking about and doing. But it'll be nice to see some more attention.
I'm sure Bill Gates will help.
Yeah, he'll be right there with pushing
with Hillary Clinton. I'm sure
with injections. They'll be pushing injections.
I'm sure they'll rush in to help. Okay, what are we, as in America, going to do a hostile takeover of Greenland? Here's Trump again today. He's been talking it up for like a month. Here's Trump today. And by the way, J.D. Vance and the U.S. delegation went there today. They were not greeted very kindly. No one, they went around knocking on doors in the local neighborhood they were at, and no one wanted to talk to Vice President of America, J.D. Vance. But here's Trump saying we need Greenland for international security. So he's like really cranking up the rhetoric against the Denmark government, which Greenland is a protectorate of the Denmark government. So I don't know if he's going to take it by force. He's trying to work some kind of deal, but he's saying we need it for international security against Russia and China in the Arctic.
We need Greenland, very importantly, for international security. We have to have Greenland. It's not a question of, do you think we can do without it? We can. If you look at Greenland right now, if you look at the waterways, you have Chinese and Russian ships all over the place. And we're not going to be able to do that. We're not relying on Denmark or anybody else to take care of that situation. We need Greenland.
Sorry about that. I was reading the comments. Yeah, there are a lot of fires going on in South Korea. I did see that, Carrie.
I'm personally for. I'm going to take a position here personally for you could say the annexation of Greenland. And this is consistent with Trump going against the globalists. Denmark is one of the biggest bioweapons developers in human history. They've been doing this. They went into the Congo in the 1750s and made the famous Erasmus labs and their bioweapons. They made these huge bioweapons facilities, research facilities in the Congo. This is mainline history, and they're developing and researching every parasite that can possibly be dug up and found in there, and mainline history, using these against the people in Africa and whatnot. So, and that is still the position of these royalist families, seemingly to use different agents against the people and control population in different ways through medical interventions. So I would personally rather see that piece of real estate in the control of America and Americans rather than these globalist elite puppets under the EU, the unelected dictatorship of the EU.
Well, then you'll like this new political ad.
Which one would you rather have? I would personally rather see that in the hands of America and Americans, and some possibility of it being in the hands of the patriots, than just being in the hands of these globalist, unelected bureaucracy dictators.
Trust the plan, Thomas. You'll like this new political ad released by Trump about an ad calling for cooperation rather than annexing Greenland. Let's watch this.
In the cold silence of the tundra, a bond was born, not from treaties or trade, but from blood and bravery. While Germany controlled Europe, the Nazis set their sights on the Arctic. Greenland became an unwitting combatant, and the United States stepped in, not to conquer, but to protect. In 1943, nearly 1,000 American soldiers with 4 chaplains set sail from New York to Greenland, carrying with them hope, duty, and a quiet fear. But their ship was torpedoed by a Nazi U-boat, and the frigid waters of the North Atlantic became a grave. Those 4 chaplains gave up their life vests, giving their lives so that others might live, to protect America and Greenland. Their sacrifices helped win our freedom, and we will never forget. Together, Americans and Greenlanders stood as sentinels at the top of the world. But today, Greenland faces new threats. From Russian aggression and Chinese expansion, our shared legacy lives on in every joint mission, every Arctic patrol, every partnership forged in the shadow of melting ice and rising tensions. This is not just history, it is destiny. Now is the time to stand together again. For peace, for security, for the future, America stands with Greenland.
It is very strange what they're doing with it regardless, because, I mean, it's supposed to be, who cares, like a shared prosperity future. We were all brainwashed to think that that's what is going on. It is certainly what should be happening, but you have this unelected dictatorship and these royal elites, right? The new Great Reset, Davos elites the two-tier system of justice and rules for thee, not for me. So in today's environment, I would personally rather see Greenland with a sliver of chance of the better situation with America than just under the control. I'm not concerned at all with Russia or China supposedly taking it. And of course, if they did, the EU and NATO, they'd have something to say about it. They would do something about that, clearly. So it's it's a little bit ridiculous to see this, but I think entrusting anything more than needs to be in the hands of these unelected dictators. It's strange to then see, okay, the technocracy, the manifest destiny of America that was going on at the time, where all of this was the British came into North America, and the Spanish and the French, and they all genocided all of these Native Americans in the entire Western Hemisphere, from Canada all the way down to Argentina. Peru, interestingly, survived through the bioweapons attacks and whatnot in their history. 500 plus years, they survived that somehow, and they write about that deeply in their history, which is very interesting to read that. But and then you had America strangely expand across the British Commonwealth and make these deals to get all of this land and have America, the country there. That was interesting how that played out in history. And now you have the technocracy with Musk that his grandfather was building. And that's all aardvark sponsored. So it's like the royalists versus the aardvarks versus the royals. So you have this Game of Thrones at the top, fighting for the land and control all of this.
That's a good segue here, Thomas, too. Fighting about the land. China blocks Panama port sales amidst antitrust probe. CJ Hodgkinson Holdings, owned by Hong Kong tycoon Li Ka-shing, has postponed the signing of a deal to sell its strategic ports at the Panama Canal to BlackRock due to an antitrust investigation by China's State Administration for Market Regulation. The deal, valued at around $19 billion, was initially set to proceed in early April, but has been put on hold amongst geopolitical tensions and economic scrutiny. So there you go. The Game of Thrones, fighting for the land. They're another piece of it, a key piece in international trade, the Panama Canal.
Yeah, well, Li Ka-shing is the famous real estate developer in Hong Kong, like the Warren Buffett of real estate in Hong Kong, far bigger real estate guy in Chinese Asia than Trump is a real estate guy, known for his reputation in real estate in America. A far bigger real estate tycoon, and if he's involved, it seems very likely that if the Trump administration wants Panama, they can get it. They can definitely get it from him, no question about that. It's just how will Trump play the deal. So of course, China, they will do what they can to stave it off, but the American government and deep state, they all want it. And BlackRock's got their hand in the Panama Canal. All the aardvarks have their hand in that. So I'd be very surprised to see them lose that. Though the aardvarks are working both sides, they're working the China side as well. They'll get it one way or another, whether it's with China and Li Ka-shing, or whether it's with the Trump administration. They're going to be involved in it.
Back to Denmark quickly here. I see our chat are big fans of J.D. Vance. Here is J.D. Vance threatening Denmark in Greenland. Let's watch this short clip.
That's what this is about. There is no amount of bullying, no amount of obfuscating, no amount of confusing the issue. Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people. That has to change. And because it hasn't changed, this is why President Trump's policy in Greenland is what it is.
Their investment is very valuable. Of course, there's a hell of a lot of minerals and resources under that. Though, are we really going to go into mining that? Certainly Bill Gates wants to. Bill Gates has been investing in a number of companies in there and land plots and whatnot. And Denmark is a very small country. They're not going to put in the money. They're not going to put in the infrastructure. That's true. And there's American military bases and space bases. How interesting are the American space bases in Greenland? What the heck is that? Very strange. And so if there's anybody that would do anything for the people, it would certainly be American administrations, and the Greenland people would certainly win. Going with America than with Denmark, and this is another way for Trump to sock it to the unelected dictatorship there of these royal elitists at Davos and the unelected bureaucracy of the EU, this totalitarian dictatorship. It would be a good move for Greenland to get themselves out from under that, and with America, it certainly would be. So I'm hopeful that they will support this. It'll certainly work out better for them, I think so, with America than what they get right now. At least there's some hope for something, and some hope for some more additional constitutional rights, freedoms, and protections.
All right, last section here is Aardvark section. Trump at iftar last night at the White House promises peace. So Trump here in Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, the White House held an iftar dinner to honor the Islamic holy month of Ramadan, simultaneously bombing Muslims, emphasizing his administration's commitment to the Muslim community and ongoing efforts for peace in the Middle East as they unconstitutionally illegally bomb Yemen and who else? Syria and Iraq and who else? I don't think
Somalia.
Somalia as well. Sudan, I think, as well. I don't think I saw a U.S. bombing Lebanon yet, but I'm sure we're assisting on those bombings as well. So, but hey, we had a White House dinner, and he loves all the Muslims. Happy Ramadan to you. Here's some images of that with some sold out Muslims, as they have a problem, a very bad problem with corruption in the Muslim community here, it seems. So here's some scenes from the White House dinner last night. And they're Trump, the peace president, as they're literally bombing people. And then I don't know who those fake Muslims are, but along with a fake Christian Trump there. So there's images of that. But then we'll get to, here's Trump. Here's Trump on Iran as they continue to beat the war drums about Iran. Let's hear from Trump about Iran, because they're going to have a nuke in 2 weeks. Let me tell you.
Again.
They have to talk and talk it out, or very bad things are going to happen to Iran, and I don't want that to happen. Big preference, and I don't say this through strength or weakness. My big preference is we work it out with Iran. But if we don't work it out, bad things are going to happen to Iran. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
I remember the last time he was talking about this, the last time he was talking like this, and he said, people can go back and play the videos, he said, Iran has no idea they have no idea what we can do to them. You have no idea what we can do to you. He was saying this, and then what happened right after that? Fraudvid was launched on the world, and you had all of these people in the capital of Iran, and all of the government sick all of a sudden, and you had Peter Strzok in the planes between Wuhan and Tehran, and then they are claiming that the spreading vector fraud vid was from Wuhan to possibly the planes on the Mahan airline and then into South Italy on that plane route, which is an illegal plane route. And they lost their license and it was canceled. And what the hell is Peter Strzok doing, flying in between, right, Wuhan and the center of the bioweapons industrial complex for China, and then flying into Milan, which became the epicenters. And you had all of the cabinet and the parliament in Iran came down wildly sick, and many of them dying and all of this kind of stuff. It looked like a bioweapons attack or some kind of a chemical weapons attack of some kind that was done there. That was the last time he was talking like this. And now he's talking like this again, folks. And now we've got, in September, we have the 2025 fake pandemic event, the practice exercise, the war games coming up again for the SEERS, severe enterovirus respiratory syndrome by Bill Gates and the Purebright Institute and Keir Starmer and the UK government coming up in September.
Keeping us safe. They're the good guys, and we don't question anything that they do or say. Here's Trump. Here's Trump last night at that dinner. I just cannot believe this, but I guess Muslims got a bad problem with corruption. Is what I could say about that.
Every day we're keeping our promises to the Muslim community. My administration is engaged in relentless diplomacy to forge a lasting peace in the Middle East, building on the historic Abraham Accords, which everybody said would be impossible, and now we're going to start filling them out because, as you know, Biden did nothing to fill them out. He did absolutely. We had the 4 great countries, and nothing happened, despite the importance of the Abraham Accords. But I have a feeling it's going to fill out very quickly. People are talking already about it. They should have had them long ago. It should have been done. We're rapidly defeating inflation by reducing energy costs and even slashing the price of eggs by 50%. Doesn't sound like much, believe me.
They imported a bunch of eggs is how they were able to reduce the prices. So a sleight of hand there. And then this is for everybody in the audience. Go back to sleep, of course.
Gold man bad. Are they going to start saying gold man bad? Making himself like a trophy now.
Go back to sleep. Huh. I'm sure this is just all a coincidence. Yeah, that's a very popular wall over there. And even Obama and Trump and Bill Clinton and all of them, actually. U.S. seizes crypto linked to Hamas funding. The U.S. Department of Justice, in collaboration with the FBI Cyber and Counterterrorism Divisions, successfully seized over $200,000 in cryptocurrency that was linked to Hamas terror financing operation. The seizure is part of an ongoing effort to disrupt the group's financial networks. I think it started in Aardvark land, so when that gave them the seed funding to found the organization. The seizure is part of an ongoing effort to disrupt the group's financial networks, with digital transactions amounting to over $1.5 million tracked since October last year. The operation involved tracking funds across at least 17 cryptocurrency wallets shared in encrypted chats, highlighting the challenges and complexities of monitoring digital finances for illicit activities.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if Trump's got a new stable coin that was just announced. We'll see.
USD1, yeah.
We'll see if they start cracking down. And all of these oligarchs, they all want to be monopolists and control it all for themselves under their own, and be the unified controller instead of any form of decentralization, where the people would have things distributed and distributed opportunity amongst themselves. They all want to control it in the private sector for themselves. So we'll see if Trump does that and starts saying, oh, in the name of money laundering and terrorism, we need to shut down all the independent crypto exchanges around the world, like they've been trying to do. So the narrative will spin to that probably.
Him and his family are heavily invested in USDA 1 there. Okay, moving on to, let's play this clip again because this is an all-time classic as well. I think we played it twice or 3 times this week. Quickly again, admitting, and literally, where's the Congress? Illegal, unconstitutional bombings of the Houthis in Yemen. Again, over 100 strikes. Let's watch this clip again. Shocking, and literally no one cares.
But there have been more than 100 strikes conducted against Houthi targets, and they have
more than 100 strikes.
Blowing up Tesla motor, the electric cars, blowing up those cars that are good for the environment. That's a much more important priority than caring about the bombing victims in Yemen, isn't it?
Here is from CENTCOM's X feed, and they're bragging about it. The operation continues here now. Here it is. This is right from US CENTCOM. And so as we speak, they're running bombing missions against the Houthis in Yemen.
And it looks just like the wellness company's Eric Prince's Blackwater crimes against humanity videos, doesn't it? That were exposed by Julian Assange, which that was already pre-reported, and Julian Assange then re-reported that information. And by the re-reporting, they criminally detained Assange, arrested him, locked him up for 10 years, stole his life, and even conspired to criminally assassinate him. Mike Pompeo did that. Your trust the plan guy. They put him on a pedestal. And now Goldberg, who's in the Signal chat fiasco, he's saying they're talking about classified information in a private chat group, and I happened to inadvertently be added, a journalist. I knew that was classified information. It's classified, he's saying. And he reported that to everybody, which is actually a crime and is actually illegal for him to do that. He literally admitted to knowingly, he knew.
But he's named Goldberg, so he won't get in trouble. It's all a psyop distraction from the real bombing campaign. Here we see. Right,
but he literally said they entrusted. He was entrusted to be invited into the group supposedly. So he's entrusted.
He's entrusted. So yeah, I trust him.
Right, so he's entrusted to be in there, and then he takes the classified information and spreads it all over the world. So if Assange did that kind of situation, you could say, but it was already pre-reported before Assange. And what did they do to Assange in response? They murdered him, right? They did this assassination run. So they murdered him. They decided to murder him. They went to murder him. It just, they didn't complete the mission.
Hillary said, can't we just effing drone him?
Right, and 10 years in prison. So is Goldberg going to get the same 10 years in prison? And
no, he's going to get the Presidential Medal of Honor.
Is Ratcliffe? So I asked Ratcliffe on X, are you going to assassinate Goldberg just like Pompeo assassinated Assange? Are we going to put Goldberg in prison for 10 years, hole him up in some embassy right now? Is that what we're going to do? Because obviously he should be. He literally took. And as he says, as he admits, as he's campaigning, he took classified information from entrusted in a secure group with a literal president of the United States of America, and he exposed that to the world. That is the traitor. That is the crime. He should be immediately arrested. So I also requested to both the FBI director and assistant director, Kash Patel, and Bongino to arrest him immediately, which he should be arrested immediately for that.
He'll be given awards. Okay, here we have American activist. This guy's, I don't know what's going to happen to this guy. He's going to get hemmed up here in America. Jackson Hinkle, famous MAGA communist. I don't know where he got that from. Jackson Hinkle is, he went to Yemen to the Houthis' million Houthi march, which we've documented here on many occasions every Friday, and he gave him a speech. Let's take a listen to what he had to say. I don't know what this guy's going to do with with the hostile Trump regime against what he's essentially standing for here, pro-Palestine, pro-Houthi. Let's watch this clip of Jackson Hinkle. This guy better watch a step coming back to America. I'm telling you.
مع جاكسون هينكل الناشط الأمريكي المعارض. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! I am so honored to be here.
لي الشرف الكبير أن أكون معكم اليوم.
I have never met a more courageous people.
على الإطلاق لم أقابل شجعانا مثلكم هنا اليوم.
America and the Zionist entity fears Yemen more than anyone else.
أمريكا والصهيونية والصهاينة يخافون اليمن.
Because the people of Yemen fear nobody but God.
لأن اليمنيين لا يخشون شيئا إلا الله.
I understand that here today,
أتفهم إليكم اليوم.
It is Quds Day, and I could think of nowhere else I would rather be than with the free people of Yemen.
وأتشرف وأفخر بأن أكون في يوم القدس هنا في اليمن بجانبكم.
As the United States drops bombs on the people of Yemen and Gaza,
في حين أن الولايات الأمريكية تقصفكم وترمي عليكم بالقنابل والقذائف.
We know that the U.S. and the Zionist entity is waging a war against God.
ونعرف بأن أمريكا والصهيونية زائلة وزائلة.
And we know that anyone who wages a war against God will never be successful.
لأنهم يشنون حربا وفي وجه الله فهم الخاسرون.
Thank you for having me here.
أشكر استقبالكم لي هنا معكم اليوم في هذه اللحظات.
And inshallah one day we will meet in a free Palestine.
وسنلتقي إن شاء الله يوما ما في فلسطين.
They may just drop bombs on all those giant rallies they're having there. They better be careful as well.
They're going to get him for that, man.
Yeah, right? Like, dude, you're I don't know if I'd come back to the United States after that showing.
I wouldn't. I mean, that's beyond Edward Snowden. That is beyond Assange doing that. What he just did, they will. He might make the FBI's most wanted list for that. Though, probably not with Akash Patel, but certainly you might see the Democrats, at least in the closed meetings, they're going to be demanding that he be added to the list, an Interpol list and whatnot. He'll probably turn up in the Interpol list in a short period of time. My new conspiracy theory, tomorrow's news today.
If he's for real and not an agent, yeah, this guy's in deep trouble, man. But yet they continue to have these giant rallies with no fear. When they could easily go a couple bombs and wipe out 1 million people there. How many ever? A lot. There's a lot of people at these rallies, and they all gather in these, like you could see on the video, and they can wipe them out with a few bombs. So courageously enough, there maybe stupidly enough, they should be. Seems like more strategic in their rallies, considering the ongoing bombing operations against them. It may get to.
Where's Nancy Fraudlosi? You haven't seen her in the news very much. She must be suffering more for health issues. She's gone. I mean, where is she? Last you saw her was.
She had a bad hip. She had a bad hip last we saw her. So she may
They're
be
talking
dead.
about
Who knows?
insider trading and whatnot. And then there was the scandal with her husband there with his lover in the house and all of this stuff with a hammer smashing his head in, I guess, for some reason. Maybe caught him cheating with another, maybe with Scam Altman or something like that. Who knows? And, but where's Nancy Fraudlosi screaming out to bomb the column, right? Bomb the column. Remember, she was saying that about bombing Putin's column of tanks all the way into Kiev.
I don't think she's in good enough health. She has seemed to left the scene, like you're saying. The new leaders are Bernie, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, she's left the Democrat scene altogether. Okay, so Aardvark land strikes Beirut for first time since ceasefire. They were bombing the hell out of South Lebanon the entire time for the quote ceasefire, but now they've went up north a little bit, and Aardvarks have once again struck right in the heart of the city there in Beirut. Of course, it was to get Hezbollah terrorists, and of course we know that no innocent civilians could ever be hurt by armed Aardvark bombs of love. And we're back to full-on war, essentially, as if it ever stopped, which it really didn't. But now they're turning the knob up here and bombing right there in the city. You could see, but hell, it's for Hezbollah, Hamas. They say Hamas or Hezbollah, excuse me. So it's worth it. I mean, So there you go, killing those damn terrorists right in the center of the city. And so we can expect it to increase. Last story of the day here.
Maybe the terrorist girlfriend was walking into the residential building with all of the innocent women, and children. So that makes it okay. Yeah, a great job, says I make up JD Vance, right?
Hey, Nexus. Shout out to Nexus. Yeah, we're calling. I guess you came late. I'm calling on the EPA to go ahead and launch a chemical weapons attack against Utah for this transgression of removing fluoride from the public drinking water supply. That should set them straight in Utah.
They've got too much climate change. We got to send Bill Gates and spraying planes over immediately.
Damn Mormons, man, are pissing everybody off. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Netanyahu said to task Mossad with finding countries to house Gazans. And so literally, here it is, Aardvark Times, public ethnic cleansing. And it's just when we do it, it's not ethnic cleansing. If anybody else did it, it would be. But when they do it, they're saving people. And so in the humanitarian effort to save Palestinian lives, they've reached out here now, too. It's being reported Sudan, Somalia, Indonesia, and other nations about taking in Palestinians in the Greater Aardvark Land Real Estate Redevelopment Program because, and I'm adding this editorial to the story, they can't figure out how to get rid of all the bodies because they literally have no problem killing 2 million of them or how many of them are left. The problem is they can't figure out how to get rid of the bodies fast enough for the whole rest of the world to notice. So,
and they want to send them. You notice how they want to send them completely out of the Middle East, right? All different continents.
Sudan, Somalia, Indonesia, and other countries. But the problem is, if you send them there, the other countries know. If they take them in, they're like, oh, nobody likes the Palestinians. They're all jerks and whatever. It's like, no, these countries know if we take them, we're going to get bombed next because they're going to say there's Hamas in there. And we have to bomb the terrorists.
Right. And what happened to, they're all terrorists. So that's why we're moving them out because they're all terrorists. Right. So if they're claiming to these other countries, hey, you can take these refugees. They're not terrorists. You don't have to worry about that. You can take them. It'll be okay to take them into your country. Well, if that's the case, then why can't they leave them in their land in Palestine and Gaza and the West Bank? Why can't they leave them there? Right. So it totally exposes them at the same time. Everybody needs to see through that.
ethnic cleansing right in your face, and it's just like, yeah, they're the good guys. It's unfreaking believable, man.
And the EU, Jackson Hinkle needs to fear the EU, and that aardvark-run dictatorship far more than he needs to.
If he's not an agent, if he's not an
more
intelligence agent, then I don't see how he makes it out of this alive. Honestly,
he's got to stick to Islamic countries where there's agents there, aardvark agents, and they'll be happy to put an end to him very quickly in those kind of places. So
if that guy is legitimate, yeah, I don't honestly see how he makes it out of there alive.
He's got few places to go. The map of the world certainly shrunk for him. He can't go anywhere near the EU, obviously, and maybe just Russia and the stands and Asian countries, maybe a couple of Middle Easterns, but aardvark has so many agents through all of those, that would be risky to him as well. Latin America would be very risky to him as well. So limited places to go, but I'm sure he's planned for that. I'm sure he's wise enough to know that doing something like what he just did is and he's been after infamy. When you're that censored, that banned, he's going after the publicity, and he's certainly going to get it. He's trying to, that's a move like trying to elevate yourself to the level of a Snowden or Assange, no question about that.
All right, that's all we got for today on this Friday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you, everybody. We're at 2.5 hours. Thank you, Thomas, for joining us today. Thank you, everybody, for the chat and joining us, keeping the chat lively. Let's go to, what do we got?
Maybe I should do something so salacious for my Breakthrough Energy startup. What do you guys think? Should I go to Yemen and campaign for getting off the Rockefeller oil system as well on top of it? Right. And somebody asked, is there oil in Yemen? There is a hell of a lot of oil in Yemen, of course. There's a lot of oil in Yemen, and of course the aardvarks, the Rockefeller.
But that's not why they're attacking them. It's to keep
the blacks. They want that.
It's to keep the shipping lanes open. Let me tell you, that's what they care about.
And the shipping lanes, 40%. Get this. This is shocking. 40% of Europe's trade flows through that Gulf, that strait. 40%. Only 3% of American trade flows through there. 40% of European trade flows through there. And so Trump and Vance were complaining, why do we need to bail Europe out again? And they're not paying for this. We've got to go and solve this issue. They should just let the Houthis do it, to give it to Europe. That would collapse Europe I mean, it's an incredible leveraging position, and the Trump administration is not leveraging that effectively for America. When you have that kind of leverage, they should be putting a military tax, taxing 100% of the cost of all of these operations to protect the European shipping lanes where 40% of their trade is. If they lose that, the entire European economy is just going to absolutely collapse. So it's you're saving Europe. So they should be charged for 100% of the bill for the expenses. Right, so all of you MAGAs out there, you better be demanding for that, for Trump to put 100% of the bill on them, and he hasn't announced that yet. So at the very minimum, he should be doing that. And hey, they should hand over Greenland. Otherwise, the Denmark economy, which Denmark is running most of the ships. They're the biggest shipping country in all of Europe, and they're the biggest trade route servicer through that place. So hey, we can let the Houthis collapse your country, collapse your economy, or give us Greenland. And also, one last note, I'll squeeze this in the show. The income tax rate in Greenland is 44% before the additional GSTs and PSTs and all of these other taxes. 44% income tax. But there is no income tax for people in America earning $150,000 a year less. Mr. Tax Planner is not doing a very good job selling the tax benefits to be an American under yet another state, under America. The people in Greenland would benefit wildly. Their incomes would virtually double overnight due to the tax program under the Trump policy. Another reason for the Greenland people to join. It certainly would be better for all of them. It'd be the biggest tax cut that they ever saw, and absolutely the biggest tax cut in history. Great, that'd be great for the Greenland people. So welcome to America, Greenland people, where you can actually be free from the European slavery, where you're controlled, you're slaves, you have no say at all. You're just subject to this EU dictatorship, and you need to sit in your house and rot and make sure you take all of your boosters, because airborne boogeyman might get you.
All right. What about we have a special Sunday show lined up, Thomas?
Yeah, I've invited Jamie Andrews. I'll just do one last confirmation on that. We have Jamie Andrews from basically the Lyrology Reproducibility Project. So Jamie Andrews is going through the proof, so the procedures that the vaccine establishment, that the WHO has been using. So all of these scientific procedures that they use to claim that viruses exist and viruses have been isolated. He's going through all of these scientific procedures, repeating all of this and taking videos of it and open sourcing this to the world. And he's agreed to come on the show and present this to us, to the Weaponized News audience, which I'm very elated and very happy to see. So I'll just do one more confirmation with him, and hopefully we will have him coming on the Sunday show. And it'll be fantastic to see that, and very underreported. And all of the Maha people, there's nobody supporting this guy. There's nobody repeating his information. It's very interesting to watch this happen, because he's been exposing this for months now and been revealing, and he found, right, that the procedures that they use don't hold up. It's a complete failure. It's all a massive house of cards. So he's literally showing this on video. What time are we doing again, Sam? I think it's 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Pacific on Sunday, not on YouTube or Facebook. Look for us on Rumble, Odysee, and Bitchute.
2 p.m. Pacific time. It's 5 p.m.
Yeah, Rumble. Eastern. We're going to be on Rumble, Odysee, Bitchute, and X, and not on these other ones because they don't like if you question the scientific consensus, and we don't like it either. And so we're not going to share our show with you on those platforms. Thank you very much. Complying with community guidelines, and we hate Trump again. And so
Goldman bad.
Trump bad.
Goldberg good.
So tune in on Odysee, Rumble, X, and Bitchute for that special scientific show. And we do support the World Health Organization YouTube. Thank you very much. And we're mad at Trump for defunding them as well. Okay, over to the Odysee. Who do we got? We got Barry there. We got Mr. Anderson. We got, oh, no, it's Gillespie. Shout out to you guys, unknown. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. The lively chat, as always, on the Rumble. Thank you guys for keeping that going. Quite lively chat over there. I appreciate that.
And make sure you go to Weaponized News, give Sam Cheney some additional traffic, buy yourself some stickers, and put them on a Tesla Motors car. Ooh, good idea. I'm going to be the first person to put a
Bitchute today's blowing up. Shout out to Bitchute audience. Got a big
I'm going to be the first person ever to vandalize a quote-unquote vandalize a Tesla Motors car with a Weaponized News sticker. That will be part of my protesting at Tesla Motors dealerships that I will do.
There you go. Shout out to Bitchute. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Bitchute. Bitchute, I'm going to have to email them again because the last 5 shows, they have not loaded. They're just stuck in live and not loaded up. And so if you're on the Bitchute and you're thinking, and you missed the live stream and you're thinking, what's going on? Go over to the other channels, Rumble or YouTube or Odysee, and you can see the last week's shows as they've not been loaded to Bitchute as some technical glitch on their end. I'm going to have to email them about that. But again, thank you guys. If I could believe these stats, says 93 people are watching on the Bitchute live right now. So
and make sure you buy some Weaponized News stickers. Get out to your Code Pink climate protests at the Tesla dealerships. Hand out stickers to all of the people, and And you can, I mean, you might want to comment, hey, it would look so good, a weaponized news sticker on those Teslas. You don't have to put it on there. You could give out the stickers and just, drop just like Ray Epps, say January 6th. You could drop a little nugget and say, wouldn't it look great to have go into the Capitol? No, wouldn't it look great if some weaponized news stickers were on those Tesla Motors cars? Make sure you take a picture. I'm not encouraging vandalism. The stickers come off. They're very easy to come off. I'm not encouraging vandalism. I would never do such a thing.
As we wait for this weekend, protest of peace, over 20 or nearly 200 Tesla showroom locations are set to be protested by the same people that would shame you 2 years ago if you didn't buy a Tesla, in a strange twist of events here now. Now we hate Elon. We loved him. Now we hate him. So that will be going on. Keep an eye out for violence there. Don't be violent at all, and don't get caught up in any of this nonsense. Okay, so a shout out to Facebook, YouTube. Thank you guys very much. And here is the aforementioned. If you guys missed it yesterday, go to Mr. Barry Dutton's YouTube channel, and you can see his, the first part of the video we played, where Barry confronts. First, he bullhorns them outside, and then he goes and confronts them inside Oshawa City Council. And today we're going to show the second part of that, where the police are called on Barry. And thankfully, they didn't beat him to death or shoot him. I guess they don't, I don't know, do Canadian police shoot? Well, he's not black, so I mean, if he was black, he'd be dead. But here is Barry questioning police who are called on him for questioning the city council. And so we'll play that on the way out. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action. Be sure to turn in at 2 p.m. Pacific time to the special scientific edition of Weaponized News, censored edition. It shall be very informative. And again, here's Barry Dutton to play us out. Everybody go to Barry Dutton. Well, let me just put it on the screen. Barry Dutton Homes, and give him a subscription. And you can see his activism videos there. And then here's the video to play us out.
SWAT team again, eh? The SWAT team was called again? Are you kidding me? You can come on in. This should be for public consumption. Come on in. You want to disrupt things. To be fair, you guys are only trying to do your job.
That's right.
But this is ridiculous.
And you obviously have
We've got badge 916. Yeah, it's taxpayer 916.
3439. You don't have to record it. I'm happy to tell you.
I think this should be done in a public forum, since your resources are what we pay for, and this is getting a little ridiculous with you guys being tied up for taxpayer-related issues because this city council and this mayor, the head of the corporation of the city, refuses to deal with the taxpayers in an expedient manner. How do you feel about getting called out to the library last week? None of you guys I recognize, with the tactical squad and 5 cruisers. So there was roughly 13 of your fellow officers tied up last week.
I can't even comment because I wasn't working that day and I don't know anything about it.
The library, the board, with 4 members of the public there and a sitting councillor.
I wasn't there. But
Fair enough.
The reason we were called here today, we were told that you were using a megaphone during, there was a lady that was trying to tell her story.
Yeah, and I apologize while I was out there with it.
Right, so nobody could hear anything she was saying, so that's why we were called.
All right, so what's going to happen here tonight then?
Well,
as this administration, led by the mayor, John Henry, and a councillor like Roger Bauma, continues to be heavy-handed, wasting police resources out of our regional tax dollars.
I don't think it's a waste. You know, if they feel that there's a disruption and they call us, that's our job.
I would like to point out to everybody watching this, see, here's the reason why I do what I do. I'm a community activist, and community is the key word. At the end of the hall, we got a tactical unit. Are you from the tactical unit?
He's not a tactical officer. He's a canine officer.
So you brought a dog for me?
No, he doesn't have his dog with him tonight. He's by himself.
I like dogs. So he's ducked around the corner. So who made the call?
I couldn't tell you.
Because we'll find out.
That's fine.
Are you aware of who made the call?
No, I'm not.
Are you?
No, I'm not, sir.
No, what's
you can make
Fontaine
3157.
3157.
You can make a request for freedom of information.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This mayor, John Henry, and Roger Bauma, who sits on this side of the council chambers, said that FOIs were going to be done away with, and no resident, they're up on their website still, no resident would ever have to make another FOI request when these guys got into office. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not.
Are you aware of that?
No.
Are you aware of that?
Does it matter if we
It does, because why should I have to pull an FOI request for calling out the mayor who's continued to go against all of his campaign promises?
Okay, but I have no
Same with
control
Roger.
over FOIs. I have no control over that. I was called here today. I'm responding to a disturbance. Okay? So if you...
Am I going to be thrown out of a council meeting?
You know what? If you continue to cause disturbances in there is the potential that they could give you a trespass letter.
Can I make a point? Thank you for, I appreciate, you've been very nice with me. Can I make a point? I never caused a disturbance in the council chambers. I went outside to make a point to a mayor and a council who refuses to be accountable to the taxpayers of this city that I was born and raised in. Are you aware that I ran for council?
No.
Are you aware that I have 21 and a half years of clients here and an elderly father who's 90 years old as we sit here on May 22nd, 2012? I'm not the one causing the disturbance here. It's the mayor, John Henry, and Roger Bauma, and a heavy-handed council and administration.
Sir, I understand your cause. That's your cause. I understand that you're obviously very serious about it. But with the
Am I being democratic about it?
With the megaphone, I think you interrupted somebody else trying to tell their plight. And that's not fair. So I'm just going to ask you if in the future you could not use the megaphone and allow other people to have a voice too.
Okay, you've been very nice. You're super nice. So here's what really happened. I waited for O Canada to finish. I waited for the Lord's Prayer, or whatever the heck they're trying to do right now, to remove the Lord's Prayer from this chamber. I waited for that to be done. I waited for all of the delegation requests on a very important matter in the community, which is the saving of the Winfield's Stone House, which I also support. Are you aware that I support that as well? Did you see me in the paper supporting it? Okay, I just want to see, because not everybody that is a police officer owns property here or follows local politics. So I've been involved in this community for 2 years. Do you know what I'm doing? I'm walking out my 2010 campaign promises that I put on paper and then I put on YouTube. How do you feel about that? Just because I'm not getting a paycheck, should I refuse to walk these things out? Should I be lazy and just collect a paycheck off the backs of my taxpayers and not care? Should I just let them get away with what they're doing in my city? Are you aware that there's a potential $3 million surplus across the road in the Bagot Street Library branch? You want to hear about corruption? Maybe you guys should be investigating that. That's a crime.
We're not here to discuss politics, though.
Yeah, but I am.
We're here in response. I understand that. We're here in response to the disturbance call. Okay?
Okay, let me ask you. If you were a taxpayer, and you are, I imagine, if you were a taxpayer and you weren't getting calls and emails returned, and they had campaigned on a matter of transparency and accountability for their entire campaign season, and they're doing anything but, isn't that criminal?
Well, Barry, we can only act within the...
Is that subjective? Was that a hard question? Now you know what it's like being a taxpayer trying to deal with these clowns. There's 2 or 3 good counselors here, but you know what? The mayor is not a good person.
Like you said, right? You're using a police resource right now, and we don't mind responding if there is a problem. I don't think there's an issue here.
I didn't call you, and you refuse to tell me who called you because you may not know, but I'll find out.
Don't say I'm refusing to tell you, because I'm not refusing. I don't know the answer to that question, okay?
Can you find out?
No, because our computer systems are completely down across the region. So we were dispatched over the radio, okay? So...
Would you like my email address so you can find out who called you and abuse this police resource tonight?
But you can
Would you like my card?
You can follow our proper procedure, and you can get that information if you so desire to. We were here to respond to a disturbance. There's no disturbance now, so we are going to leave. And I would ask that in the future that you don't use the megaphone, because we will be called back.
Here's what I'm going to promise. If the mayor and council starts walking out their campaign promises and being accountable and transparent to the taxpayer, I won't need to use my bullhorn. How's that? I negotiate for a living. Is that fair?
Really, Barry? Like, I'm trying to be...
You are being super nice, but you know what? I'm past fed up with a bunch of other council watchers. I'm not trying to shoot the messenger. Not trying to shoot the messenger. Not trying to shoot the messenger. I'm here as a community activist because we're tired and fed up.
That, and I see that you're very passionate about your cause, but all I'm asking is...
Did I run from you guys? Did I refuse to come out?
Well, obviously you can answer that.
No, I'm here with a camera standing in the hallway of Oshawa City Hall because I was called out by the mayor. And when challenged about who called, Are you aware that John Henry, the mayor, sits on the Police Services Board and got a majority of those votes?
Again, like I said, we're not here to discuss politics.
My
We're
political
here.
views just don't come into play here. I told you why we've responded, and we've responded. We've done what we can. I will ask you that you don't use the megaphone. We probably will be called back if you do.
I have told you that I appreciate you all being nice and listening to me. You've done a good job of listening. Maybe you should run for council. Because if everybody listened as well as you three tonight and the dog unit fella down the road, we would all be better off as taxpayers. So you've been more than respectful with me. I'll tell you again, this is a very heavy-handed Oshawa City Council and administration. I'm telling you on behalf of several taxpayers that I represent, your police resources and your time have been wasted here again, like they were last week at the library board when the tactical unit with around 13 of your officers were called. It is a waste of police resources.
Barry, I'm not going to comment on it because I wasn't here and I don't know anything about it, okay? So
yep, fair
please
enough.
Don't ask me for my take on that. I don't even know that what you're saying is true. I have no idea who responded or how many. But
we were there, and you can ask Councillor Doug Sanders because he's in there right now.
Okay,
he was there.
So I do know why we're here tonight, and I've said our piece. And I'm just going to ask you that you not use the megaphone.
Seeing as how I didn't enter into that verbal contract with you, what is going to be the problem if I use the megaphone in the future with a council that doesn't listen to me, doesn't listen to my ratepayers, doesn't listen to my 21 and a half years of real estate clients here in town, doesn't listen to us as a bunch of Canadians, let alone people that were in Oshawa? What's going to happen if I use it again? Based on what I've told you tonight. You can research it if you have the time. I don't think you do because your resources are strapped. But once again, I'm saying they're strapped because of a heavy-handed administration that calls you guys out time and again. This is the third or possibly fourth time. I'll give you a card before I go. D-U-T-T-O-N.
Thanks.
This is the fourth time, unless I'm mistaken, that this mayor or this administration has called in police, wasted your time and resources where you could be catching criminals. Do you think this was a wise resource use of City Hall tonight?
The thing is, when people call us, we have to respond. We don't know what's going to happen until we show up, right?
Does it sound like I'm a fed up taxpayer?
I'm not going to answer that. I'm
How about perhaps? Perhaps I might be a fed up taxpayer.
You've told us that you are, right?
Perhaps there's a lot more others of us like me out there.
I'm sure there is. So, look, I've told you why we came here tonight, and I've asked you not to, and I would hope that you would be respectful of the other people that are trying to have a voice here tonight. That's all.
Yeah. No, and you've made the point, and I wanted to clarify like I tried to earlier. Maybe we didn't hear each other. I apologized in the megaphone when I was out there saying I don't want to interrupt anybody else's time. I made every attempt. I've got text messages to the former mayor that are saved in my outbox right now on my Rogers Network BlackBerry, and you can check them if you want or go through the logs. I said that I was trying to respect every delegation because I'm here to represent taxpayers, not get in their way. I waited as long as I could. I waited till the Winfield Farm sensitive issue was off the table. I had to make an exit, and it took me 3 minutes to get out there, do my thing, and say my first 5 or 8 minutes of a speech. No harm intended to you guys, no harm intended to the K-9 unit fella down there.
So, but if you've already apologized for it, then you probably don't intend to do that.
It's on tape, and you can get a hold of my YouTube information later and watch it.
You obviously realize that there is a wrong in perhaps using the megaphone in this forum.
I will certainly never admit to that.
Well,
I think it's wrong.
You apologized, so you must have felt bad about it.
For getting in the way of a taxpayer speech.
That's what I'm saying. Is
we're on the same level with that.
The megaphone has its place, but during when people are trying to get their voice across, then that's not.
Well, sometimes we need to learn how to meet in the middle. This is a heavy-handed City Hall administration in the city of Oshawa. Your resources have been wasted tonight beyond the shadow of a doubt.
Okay, well, we are going to exit.
So I am safe to return to council as a duly paying, tax-paying citizen?
I don't think you were ever not safe.
Cool. You've been super nice. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You have a good night.
You're the quiet one, eh? Strong, silent type? Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Doesn't really affect any plans with the property in the future. It mostly is addressing concerns or potential concerns from the DFO. And again, that's the important part of this, is to get that last sign off from the DFO on the ammonia. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Mayor Bitchute. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I appreciate the work that you do, and Tom, in your office especially. Wanted to ask, the indication that we get through not only this report but the previous was we're waiting on some of the chips to fall and also some understanding with respect to the environmental. In particular, talking about the DFO and releasing, for example, their liability or whatever with respect to the ammonia. What happens if that doesn't happen? It then gets left in the city's hands to decide whether we want to move forward or not.
If that doesn't happen, it comes back to the city having to make a decision on that.
Okay, so and that was the understanding last time. So it's plausible that we be in the same position next year at this time again and have to make a decision. Is that something that could be a factor through you, Mr. Mayor, to staff?
It's possible. It's not likely in my point of view. When I look at the correspondence that Franz has produced in the report referenced here,